Potter and Conor McCurr. We'll talk about some of those players obviously as we go on. I've done this particular role of getting the Blast going for a number of years now, and I'm always looking forward to it. But no, it's a 3-week, 4-week journey that builds in momentum. The crescendo builds up. You don't want to peak too early, but I would say I'm really excited for this, but probably a 6 or a 7 out of 10. The fella next to me, well, he's been buzzing on 15 out of 10 all week since he knew he was going to be sat here. It is, for the first time this evening, a very warm welcome to Kyle van Vollenhoven. How are you, fella?
Good on you. Good on you. I think you couldn't have said it better. I am definitely probably about a 17 now that the players are walking out.
Here they come. Some huge flags we've not seen before. The ground is absolutely swathed in Outlaws livery that we've not seen before. Even in the lifts, it's terrific. It really is good. I popped into the Trent Bridge ground the other day, and there were well over 100 people here working, cleaning the seats, obviously putting up the new advertising hoardings, and just generally turning it and transforming it from a match that's hosted county championship cricket to the Blast. Well, here come the two teams, the umpires leading them out, Steve O'Shaughnessy and Neil Pratt. There aren't any fireworks and flares this evening. I gave that the big build-up. Not so in a huddle. Stephen Mullaney, the skipper, just gathered his troops behind him. The two Derbyshire Falcons openers make their way to the middle. Derbyshire, Hyder Ali, Lewis Rees, Wayne Madsen, Leos Deploy, Anuj Dal, who of course came through the Notts Academy, Nye Donald, Matty McKeon and Zach Chappell. Be interesting to see how Zach goes as well. He left Trent Bridge in the winter to move down the 852. Mark Watt, George Scrimshaw and another Pakistan quick. This entire Blast seems to be full of them in Zaman Khan. But it is going to be Shaheen Shah Afridi to get things up and running at the start of the Blast, and he'll be bowling from the pavilion end. This could be terrific. It could, of course, all be a bit of a damp squib, but it could just be terrific. I think everybody's looking forward to seeing how he goes.
I can't wait. I think you have one of the best bowlers in the world in T20 cricket starting off the Blast at Trent Bridge. It couldn't be better, and I think we have a very exciting night ahead of us.
So it is going to be Afridi, and he's actually wearing squad number 10 now. Again, regular Notts supporters will know that Alex Hales has always had squad number 10. Well, he's been bumped a little bit, shall we say, by the arrival of Shaheen Shah Afridi. Alex Hales is wearing squad number 3.
Superstar gets preference.
Superstar indeed. So we're just about ready. The clock nudges on to 6:30. Umpire Steve O'Shaughnessy straight away says no, we're not ready, and he turns behind Afridi, and maybe there are some stewards there in those fluorescent green jackets right behind the arm where Afridi would be bowling from, and understandably Lewis Rees, who's a left-hander, former Lancashire player, who's been at Derby for a number of years now, 32 years of age. Lewis Rees, fine player in this format, just says can we move the stewards? So a little belatedly, as the clock ticks on to 6:31 on the big screens here, we're going to get underway with Shaheen Shah Afridi to start this year's T20 Blast, and the first ball is pushed back to the bowler, and it's a dot ball. And it's interesting straight away, Kyle, I watched a little bit of the match. Derbyshire, as I say, have already played a game this year in the competition. Last Saturday they were heavily beaten by Lancashire, and Hyder Ali faced the first ball from Luke Wood. It was a big wide. Second ball he was trapped LBW. Hyder Ali's got himself down the other end. He doesn't want to face Shaheen Shah Afridi, who comes in now and bowls, and Rees drives it back to the big Pakistan quick, who with his momentum he falls over, but he made a good job of stopping the ball, and I think he's actually perhaps just raked a little bit of the surface there. And umpire Steve O'Shaughnessy says, can I see the ball in case you've done some damage to that?
Yep, definitely has. I think going back to what you said previously, cricketers are very superstitious individuals, and I wonder if that is a little bit of superstition on what happened in their first game of the season, why he finds himself on the other end.
There's Afridi. 2 balls in, Derbyshire batting, and a little drop on the leg side from Lewis Rees, and we're underway. This the first game of the domestic T20 Blast this season, and a run for Derbyshire. You are following on 95.5 and 103.8 FM and online coverage of this Blast game. If you want to stick with the usual programming on BBC Radio Nottingham, Ella and her Ladies' Nights In is from 7 o'clock on your digital radio and on your smart speaker. David Jackson continuing with In the Game at the moment on there. So here we are, Hyder Ali. Notts had Matt Carter in as a slip for the first couple of balls, but he has been dispatched into the outfield. And here we go. Afridi in, all down the leg side. That's well taken by Tom Moores. He had to be lively on his toes there to take that one, but it will have to be re-bowled. It's pretty loose, isn't it, down the leg side. It's a free run and almost a free hit for Hyder Ali. Any
sort of touch on that, and that flies away for four, seeing as fine leg is up in the ring at this very moment in time.
It was an early examination of Tom Moores, just back, his first game back, having sustained a quite badly broken finger here at the start of April. Afridi in again, and he squared Hyder Ali up there. He was wobbling all over his stumps there, Hyder Ali, wasn't he? Totally off balance, and gets an outside edge, pushing it into the offside, and there's no run. It remains 2 without loss here at Trent Bridge. A glorious, glorious evening. You've really got to have a fanciful imagination even to believe there's any clouds up there. It's glorious overhead. Clear blue skies, warm sunshine. The crowd continues to build. Decent numbers. And the two local rivals going head to head. As Afridi comes in, 5th ball, bowls down the leg side, and it's off the thigh pad, and it's going to run away. There'll be a couple of runs after this. Samit Patel down below us slides just in front of the rope. Did a really good job there, Samit. That's got the old heartbeat up for Samit Patel. A good chase, but as you can hear, a good round of applause for Patel, local favourite, of course. And it's 2 leg byes added to the total.
Just almost looks, sorry to interrupt you there, just almost looks like Shaheen Shah Afridi is trying to tuck Ali up with deep square and cow corner out.
Yeah, 2 men on that leg side fence on the Fox Road side. They're both looking into the sun here, and Hyder Ali, a little push past the bowler and he'll keep strike. So Shaheen Shah Afridi says, I don't mind if I don't mind if you call me Boom Boom. Of course, his father-in-law is the great Shahid Afridi. He married Shahid's daughter last year. It very much engages with the Afridi name and doesn't mind, even though his own supporters call him the Eagle. He doesn't mind if people also refer to him as Boom Boom. Decent enough over. That's one debutant. We're going to get another one here in Conor McCurr. I don't know how much you've seen of Conor McCurr. On his day, he can be slippery quick. He's a player who has been with Surrey and Derbyshire. He's back with Surrey. Notts have grabbed him on loan with all these injuries. 3 or 4 years ago, I saw him at the Oval playing against Notts in a championship match, and he was seriously quick. He's in now, bowls well wide of the off stump, and that is going to be a wide. Umpire Pratt stretches the arms out, and I guess there's got to be nerves there. Debut for a new club.
Definitely. I don't care what people say, no matter who you are, no matter how many games of cricket you have played, nerves are definitely always there when you do make your debut.
Kyle van Vollenhoven with us this evening. He's been on Warwickshire's books for a couple of years. He played for Notts seconds last year when he moved across to Nottingham. Set up base camp here. Next one is sliced away down towards 3rd man, and it should be caught. It is, and Conor McCurr has a wicket. Decent catch down at 3rd by Matthew Montgomery, and Derbyshire lose their top order overseas player Hyder Ali in the 2nd over. It's 6 for 1. It was a loose shot. First ball was well wide of the off stump, called a wide. This one almost as wide, and he chased after it, Kyle, didn't he, and got a thick outside edge which ballooned up in the air, and it was a good low catch by Matt Montgomery.
It's made good ground. I was watching in the warm-up them, and Boerta hitting our catches there, and obviously practice has paid off. Lovely catch and a very, very good start for Notts.
Very good start for Conor McCurr as well. not incidentally, 4 debutants this evening, 4 players that obviously haven't played T20 cricket for Notts before. The 2 overseas guys in Shaheen Shah Afridi and Colin Munro. Also Conor McCurr on debut and Matt Montgomery, and the latter 2 combining there to dismiss Hyder Ali. Here is Wayne Madsen, who has a terrific record. I can end the sentence there really. He has a terrific record, full stop. He's played 152 T20 matches, 19 of them against Notts over the years. Madsen will be on strike. They did cross, but new regulation, they of course have to go out and face the new man. This is a low full toss. In truth, Conor McCurr, the board says figures of 1 for 1. He's not exactly started in a glorious manner. A big wide, another one that was wide but sliced to the fielder, and that was a nice knee-high loopy full toss that he got away with.
Definitely, but unfortunately for Derbyshire, they have lost a wicket and haven't scored a run off this over.
There's McCurr again. He's wearing number 4. We last saw James Pattinson wearing number 4 last year. This is a nice shot, but he's hit it straight to Alex Hales at mid-off, and there's no run. Good stop from Hales, and across comes Shaheen Shah Afridi and embraces his new teammate. And the 2 of them share a little bit of a joke. Colin Munro, the New Zealander, who played last year for the Trent Rockets, he's in at shortish mid-wicket. We often saw Dan Christian, of course, in that position during his lengthy period as an Outlaws player. Here's McCurr, in once more, bowls nice and full, it into the offside, through the offside, threaded a gap there, past Mullaney, past Lyndon James, and away for a boundary. And Wayne Madsen will feel a whole heap better. 4 for him. Falcons 10 for 1 here on BBC Radio Nottingham. It's the start of the T20 blast between Derbyshire, the visitors, and the host side, as ever, the Notts Outlaws.
That was a glorious shot from Madsen, slightly overpitched by McCurr, and he has crashed that through the covers for 4.
Lovely to see a group of youngsters in the William Clark stand as McCurr in again. Just wristily deflected towards the square leg umpire by Madsen. He'll take a single. 11 for 1. Looks like a school party in there, or maybe even a young party of young cricketers, but they all came in together, about 20 or 30 of them, and lovely to see them. They're in the William Clark stand. Ground looks pleasantly full, but if you look here, there and everywhere, there are white seats between a lot of the family members, but it's a good number. It will I think be up there in the low teens. Next one down the leg side. Lewis Rees tries to pull this towards the city centre, didn't get anything on it. It's another leg by, and Conor McCurr gets a very decent round of applause. He's through his first over, went for 7 runs, but he's got that all-important wicket. Hyder Ali out in the second over for just 1. Derbyshire 12 for 1 after 2.
I think Conor can be quite pleased with that first over. Nice start, wicket, settle the nerves quite nicely, and will be raring to go again. Shaheen Shah Afridi at the top of his mark again to Rees.
So this is how we started. There are people walking about at the far end, and again I think Lewis Rees, if I can spot them from our eye up in the sky here, up on the 3rd floor of the Radcliffe Road stand, that there are people moving behind the arm. Lewis Rees is going to be all over it and asks Afridi just to hang on. Now here he comes, big tall left arm, quick short, pulled away for 4. Nicely played by Lewis Rees. He'll take on the challenge. He's a combative, in-your-face sort of cricketer, Lewis Rees. Bang it in halfway down and he'll have a go, and he took that on and got it away nicely for 4.
Lovely cricket shot again, going just down the leg side, banged in, and is that Joe Clark down on the boundary there? Has no chance of getting that.
He's disappeared from our eye line. He's looking for the ball. I think it is Joe Clark. Yeah, I could just see the number 3 crawling about under the sheets, looking for the ball.
Looks like it's also disappeared from Joe Clark's eye line. Seems to have got it back now, though.
We've got the ball back eventually. 16 for 1. Derbyshire Falcons, who have a wretched record on this ground. This is the 20th meeting here. Notts have won 13. Derbyshire have won 4, 2 rained off, but Derbyshire's last win here was 10 years ago, 2013. Here's a freebie. Want to test out the middle of the wicket again. This one's just slipped down the leg side. All eyes on umpire O'Shaughnessy. I think he's going to let him get away with that, or did it just brush the pad? Just brush one of those Velcro straps, maybe.
It must have. Anything down the leg side is a wide, so it must have brushed the pad there, and it's got away with one.
Very dangerous form of attack, line of attack, isn't it, from Afridi? We've seen Mitchell Johnson and then latterly Mitchell Stark for Australia, and now Afridi, the big tall quicks, spearing it in. This one's drilled into the offside, won't get a run there. Fielded by Lyndon James. Remains 16 for 1. Calvin Harrison not playing. We have seen him over the last couple of years playing more matches than not. The leg spinner. You need a leggy, don't you, Carl?
You do. I am a bit biased, though, I believe.
Kyle is a leg spinner. Lewis Rees on strike on 6. Afridi bowls to him, and a little drop and run by Rees. He was determined to get down to the other end there. I think he's just had a little bit of Afridi, and now wants to get down to the other end. Just breathe for the time being. 17 for 1. Rees 7, Madsen 5. Hyder Ali's had a poor start to the blast, out for 0 against Lancashire and out for 1 tonight.
Not ideal. Not probably the start that you would want coming to being an overseas for a county in the blast. Want to impress straight away. Unfortunately, cricket doesn't always allow that.
So Wayne Madsen's taken guard. First time we've seen him down this end. Steve O'Shaughnessy is the standing umpire at the pavilion end. Afridi bowls, and Madsen just works it off his hips nicely out to Lyndon James, and he bounces the throw in to Tom Morse. 1 more to Derbyshire, who are 18 for 1. Last year Derbyshire did manage to get through the Northern Group. They've qualified actually for the quarter-finals 3 of the last 6 years, as we all know, and don't need reminding, but unfortunately we have to from time to time. Notts didn't get out the group last year, finished 5th, although they have made the quarters 11 of the last 13 years. Nice looking push into the offside by Rees. Didn't get hold of it really, did he? Single? No,
hasn't got hold of it, but again a nice tidy over from Afridi, and the score being 19 for 1 after 3.
2 overs none for 10 for Afridi. I presume we won't see him now until the back end of the innings. He's got those couple of overs out of the way. We are going to get some spin. It looks as if Matt Carter is going to have a bowl from this distance. I emphasise I'm a long way away from him, but it looks like since the county championship match finished last Sunday, he was on the field all of Sunday as a sub-fielder, but it seems very much since last Sunday he's had quite a sharp haircut, Matt Carter, or had his ears lowered, as they say. He's going to be bowling. It's his birthday today as well. Many happy returns, Matt Carter, who is 27 years of age, and twins from another mother, Joe Clark, exactly the same. It's his birthday today. He's also 27, so 2 outlaws out there with reasons for celebration. Carter, the off-spinner, bowls to Lewis Rees, who just dinks it down the ground, and they and ahed and then aren't prepared to take on the arm of Shaheen Shah Afridi, who spears it in. It's a difficult one really for the keeper to take, but did well.
Not ideal, coming back from a broken finger and have to do that straight away.
20 for 1. Carter to bowl round the wicket to Wayne Madsen, who levers this out onto the leg side. There's Conor McCurr there, who makes a good stop. Just had to watch it nicely in front of the Bridgeford Road stand, and keeps them down to 2. That could so easily have just taken an awkward bobble or run away from him and gone for a boundary. McCurr quite athletic in the field. Carter bowls again, drilled crisply to Afridi at mid-off. There's no run, and again the Pakistan quick spears it down to the far end to Tom Morse. 5th over, beg your pardon, 4th over being bowled. Carter bowls. This will be a boundary. That was just nothing more than a long up really from Matt Carter, and they won't be too thrilled with that. And Wayne Madsen all over it. He's too good a player to miss out on a long hop.
I agree. Can't bowl there, unfortunately. Lovely cricket shot.
It's Carter again, almost without any breather at all. And just fancy he's rushing things here a little bit, and he's been helped away for another boundary. The previous one was in front of square on the leg side. This one just helped behind square, and these are useful runs for Derbyshire in the power play. 30 for 1. Just rushing things, I felt.
I agree. I think he could just do with just taking a bit of a breath. In comes Carter again, and he's bowled that full, and Wayne Madsen has slapped that straight back down the ground for 4.
3 boundaries in a row to end that Matt Carter over. Always difficult, we know, for the spinners in the power play overs, but that wasn't Matt Carter's best over by any manner of means. And, 3 boundaries in a row for Wayne Madsen there. That's got him up and running. What are Notts going to do from the far end? It's 34 for 1 after 4, and Samit Patel is going to take the 5th over to replace Shaheen Shah Afridi. Patel playing his 135th consecutive game for the Outlaws. That's the longest streak for anybody in world cricket with the same club, the same franchise, call it what you will. So testimony to his fitness, his availability, and of course to his skill. He wouldn't get picked if he couldn't keep on doing it. And Patel to bowl to Lewis Rees. Runs as ever between the umpire and the stumps, and hits this down the ground, does Rees, over Alex Hales and away for 4 into the advertising hoardings at the base of the Hound Road stand. Looked like they fancied taking Samit on there, didn't it?
They do. Nice little dance down the track and a beautiful lofted shot over the top for 4.
Ball has been retrieved. Patel in again. Bowls. Nice looking drive down the ground for a single. Lyndon James doing the fielding this time. 39 for 1, the Falcons, who won the toss, opted to bat first. They've stuck with the same side that got heavily beaten in their first match against Lancashire, not playing their first game, and as we've already mentioned, a number of new faces. Patel bowls to Madsen, drills it to Stephen Mullaney, of course now very much in charge. Has captained the side before, but only in Dan Christian's absence. And another low full toss is just swatted away for 4 by Madsen, and if the alarm bells aren't ringing, they very soon will be, because Madsen has come out here. He's hit 24 off 12 balls already, and he's hitting them out the middle as well. Looks
in good form. Looks like he's seeing them quite nicely as well.
Durban born, 39 years of age now, pushes this all the way along the carpet out to long off. There'll be just a single to Madsen. He's on 25, 44 for 1. Rees has 14 from 12, and this partnership has very quickly rocketed to 38 from just 22 deliveries. Falcons 44 for 1. Patel bowls. Rees can only dig out a ball of Yorker length for Patel, and his over has come to an end. Went for 10 runs. We've had 5 overs here at Trent Bridge, and Derbyshire Falcons 44 for 1.
Nice start for Derbyshire. I think they'd be quite pleased with that, losing the early wicket up front. They've clawed it back quite nicely and are in quite a nice position. McCurr looking like he is going to be bowling the 6th over now.
Yes, he's got a wicket. I think we felt he was perhaps a little fortunate to get through that first over with figures of 1 for 7. Here he comes again. We're bowling to Madsen, who's nicely set on 25, and works this to mid-wicket, and that's really well fielded by Munro. And the 2 batters almost came face to face in the middle of the strip, and very quickly decided to hair back to their respective ends. That was good from Munro. He saved probably 4 runs, well, almost certainly 4 runs there, because beat the fielder, you're going to get full value here, aren't you?
Definitely. Outfield looks just looks unbelievable. No other way to say it.
44 for 1. Wayne Madsen has 25. Here's Conor McCurr. Arrived on Wednesday. A little push into the offside here, and a shy at the stumps by Lyndon James narrowly missed. Well, backed up there by Afridi, and good cricket all round. The Falcons take a sharply pinched single, and it's 45 for 1.
It's really nice running between the wickets, nice and intent. Wayne Madsen has looked very busy since coming to the crease.
Do like this new not strip, the gold shirt with the green diagonal band across it. McCurr bowls. This one's just helped away behind square. There'll only be a single for Lewis Rees. He moves on to 15, 46 for 1. Leos Deploy listed to come in next. Anuj Dal, Nye Donald, Matty McKeon and Zach Chappell, Mark Watt, George Scrimshaw and Zaman Khan make up the rest of the Derbyshire batting order. Madsen on 26. McCurr bowls to him. 4 runs. He's lifted that, not afraid to take the aerial route, clipped it through mid-wicket. Wide of the 2 fielders there, but it was always going to hair away for 4. Nice looking shot from Wayne Madsen, who's very much got the bit between his teeth.
He does. He's come in and, as I said earlier, has looked really positive, looked really busy, and has taken a liking to the bowlers that he has faced so far today. That is a lovely, lovely cricket shot.
Often called a bit of a bowler's graveyard, Trent Bridge. Looks a super track. Derbyshire winning the toss, opting to bat first, trying to put runs on the board. They've got 50 already, but they're not going to get any more there because that's a really good Yorker from Conor McCurr. As mentioned, a championship game I saw him bowl against Notts 3 or 4 years ago down at the Oval, and Notts had Craig Brathwaite, the West Indies opener, playing for them at the time, and he rattled him about the helmet. He was in a little bit of discomfort, Craig Brathwaite, and spoke to him afterwards about it and said it's the first time anybody has thudded one into his helmet like that. It can be quick. It's been a little bit wayward. Bowls now, and this is clipped away on the leg side, and that's going to go all the way for the first 6 of this year's T20 blast at Trent Bridge. Wayne Madsen just moved across his stumps, and with Joe Clark out there just trying to circle underneath it, see if there was any possibility of being able to maybe even just scoop it back. Very quickly those thoughts were dismissed. It went a good way back. The rope's in quite a long way from that stand away to our right, but it safely sailed over his head. And that's 6, and that's the end of the power play. I think it's 56 for 1, Carl. It is indeed 56 for 1. The big screens here at Trent Bridge tend to run through 1 or 2 adverts, and right up there now we've got end of power play. There we go. You can see now it's 56 for 1 after 6. Samit Patel to continue. Of course, Notts now can release more fielders out into the wild. 5 of them. A little bit of protection, and Rees chops this away for a single. 57 for 1. What do you make of the power play?
I think Derbyshire will be the happier of the 2, especially after losing an early wicket and come in and Madsen and Rees to rebuild like they have had. Now 57 for 1, they'll be very, very pleased.
Madsen's on strike, he's on 36, and he's reverse swept Samit Patel for 4. Not holding back here. We've already seen pretty much the full array of Wayne Madsen's shots, and if we've not seen it before, we have now. A really textbook reverse sweep away for 4. He's looking in good fettle.
Wow, that is one of the most awful shots to defend to as a spinner. It's awful. There's not much you can do about that. That is really, really nice cricket shot played. 61 for 1. Madsen on to 40 from just 19 balls. Patel bowls. Wayne Madsen will get more runs here. Just backed away and lifted it deliberately over extra cover and away for 4 more. And despite those extra fielders outside the fielding circle, Notts just, they can't plug all the gaps, can they? And Madsen at the moment is really enjoying himself. Beautiful batting. They move sweeper to deep backward points, and he's hit it straight over extra cover the next ball.
Patel bowls, and that's good cricket from Wayne Madsen. Just drops it on the leg side, takes an easy single to get down to the other end. So he's really going after Samit Patel here. 66 for 1. Samit Patel bowled 10 balls for 20 runs. That brings Lewis Rees back onto strike. Rees very much the watching partner. He's on 16, but make that 22. That's a big blow from Lewis Rees, and I think it's been spilled by a gentleman 3/4 of the way up the Bridgeford Road side of the ground. That's a mighty blow from Lewis Rees, considering where the strip is for this particular contest. It's right in line with the committee rooms, and that very nearly found the back row of the Bridgeford Road side of the ground. Patel in again. Bowles. Rees again just drops it on the leg side. He's run the first one quickly. Joe Clark gets to the ball and fires it in. Single taken. It's 73 for 1 after 7, and this is spectacular stuff from Madsen, who's on 45, and Rees, who's on 23.
Wow, just incredible. It's almost like Rees has walked down to Madsen and said, anything you can do, I can do better, and has run down the wicket once again to Patel and has deposited him halfway up the Smith-Cooper stand.
That's Kyle van Vollenhoven, who's with us. He's spent a bit of time around the Notts camp, done a bit of fielding for them, and some games for the second 11 last season. In fact, you remember last summer when the temperatures got ridiculously, stupidly high into the 40s. Notts were playing away at Derbyshire. Who was the 12th man doing all the running on and off with all the drinks? You can tell us about that later, as Mullaney into the attack for the first time. The skipper says, I'll do it. Bowls to Lewis Rees, who drops this on the leg side, and there's a single. 74 for 1. So you've had some real insight as to Notts on game day. I've been very fortunate to be able to be a part of the team for a little bit last summer. It was incredible, and I really enjoyed it. An amazing setup, an amazing coaching staff, and an amazing staff. 74 for 1. Stephen Mullaney to bowl to Madsen on 45. Not taking any liberties against Stephen Mullaney. Just has a little look, pushes it through the vacant mid-off area there. Madsen moves to 46 from 22 balls. He was the only one to make any sort of contribution in that heavy defeat at the weekend. Wayne Madsen against Lancashire, he got 50 in that one, and Lewis Rees, again, he's having a little bit of fun, and he's hit 6 more. This one just clattering on the full into the railings at the base of the Larwood and Vose. And well, it doesn't seem to matter at the moment whether it's the quicks, the slow left armers, the off spinner, or Stephen Mullaney's brand of slowish medium pace. Rees and Madsen enjoying themselves. This partnership 75 already. Mullaney bowls. Rees off the thickish outside edge, just shy at the stumps. If he hits, he's gone, and narrowly misses. That was so close from Samit Patel. Not been too many occasions over the years when Samit has executed a direct hit to run players out, but you think of finals day at Edgbaston in 2017 when he did it twice. It wasn't too far away. 82 for 1. Mullaney now to Madsen into his pad, and Tom Moores quickly recovers the ball. Remains 82 for 1.
That's really good cricket. Madsen so far has looked to free his arms up as much as he possibly can, and Mullaney tucking him up, hit him just above the knee roll, sliding down leg though.
Final ball of Mullaney's opening over, the 8th of the innings. Bowls to Wayne Madsen. He's going to just take a single. There's a Freedy, finds himself on the deep mid-wicket boundary. Goodish return on the bounce. 83 for 1 after 8. I'm no mathematician, Kyle, but at this rate they're going to get 200 with ease.
Definitely. It does look a really good wicket though. I must say that it looks fantastic. The shots that are being played certainly seems that it must be a good wicket, and we have a change in bowling from the pavilion end, Dave. We have got Lyndon James into the attack now. So it shall be very interesting to see how he goes, if he gets the same sort of treatment that so far every single other bowler has got tonight so far. Wayne Madsen is on strike. Lyndon James at the top of his mark, with what can be said a very leg side field.
Yes, bowling to Madsen, who's on 45. Here comes Lyndon James, bowls now, and this one not come completely out of the middle of the bat. In fact, we'll have to just check and see whether it was bat or pad. Umpire O'Shaughnessy more than happy. And a single taken. 84 for 1. Terrific start by Derbyshire. They've had a losing start to the competition. They've got a poor record on this ground. They've got a poor record against Notts. Full stop. James into Rees, dances down the track, and he sliced it just over Samit Patel, who was inside the ring at short third man. Goes over his head and away for 4.
He's danced down a few times tonight, and unfortunately this time the nick just going over Samit Patel, and once it beats the outfielder Trent Bridge, it races away to the boundary.
So Lyndon James going to the fence as well. 88 for 1. Here comes young James. Bowls short, pulled away. That's going to be 4 more. Matt Carter can't cut that off. Notts just can't stem the bleeding at the moment. This really is a absolute onslaught from Rees and Madsen. This is textbook T20 batting, and Notts in the field being being found wanting, aren't they? They just can't at the moment bowl one side of the wicket or the other, or get them to hit one side of the wicket or the other. Runs are coming all around this wonderful ground. 92 for 1, and we're only halfway through the 9th. Lyndon James, a couple of boundaries in his first 3 deliveries. He's in now to Rees down the leg side. That'll have to be reloaded. 93 for 1. A reminder, if you've tuned in to listen to Ella and her Ladies' Night In, that is available on digital radio or on your smart speaker. Here we've got the T20 Blast match between Notts Outlaws and Derbyshire Falcons from pretty reasonably full Trent Bridge. This one bottom edge by Lewis Rees down past the stumps and runs through to Tom Moores, and a little bit of relief for Notts in the fact that it was a dot ball.
Rare dot ball so far this evening from what has unfolded in the last 7 odd overs, as Lyndon James is at the top of his mark and running in to Rees.
Left-hander on strike, just advances towards Lyndon James and just drives it to mid-off. Takes the single. 94 for 1. 1 to come, says the umpire. Notts have matches coming thick and fast over the next few days. They're at Old Trafford to face Lancashire tomorrow at 6:30. Monday they're at Durham, and Tuesday they're back here against Yorkshire. Lyndon James bowls to Madsen, and he goes to his 50 with a very elegant late chop and raises his bat straight away to his teammates on the balcony, the lower balcony over the pavilion there where the visitors are always housed. And that is a terrific knock from Wayne Madsen. He's gone to his 50 with the 3rd boundary in the over there off Lyndon James.
Looked effortless. This whole innings from Madsen has looked effortless. He's looked like a man in some serious form and has really enjoyed this evening. He's come out with some incredible positive shots and some incredibly positive moves as Derbyshire are taking on Notts' bowling attack here.
Yeah, 50 from just 26 balls. Going to be Matt Carter. Right arm round, bowling to Rees, who's on 40. He'll chop this away to backward point, and in comes the throw, narrowly misses. That's reasonably good work there by Joe Clark. He was off balance, never really had him down, nailed on to be able to execute a run out, or at least make Lewis Rees run a little quicker to this end, but he did pretty well. Stop the ball from racing through that offside for 4, brings Madsen back on strike. Matt Carter just urging Shaheen Shah Afridi to just move round a little squarer. Carter bowls to Madsen. Got to appeal for leg before, but that was very optimistic. That was always sliding down the leg side, surely. Leg by taken.
Definitely. You can see before the ball was bowled, Carter trying to move Afridi just for Madsen's sweep shot that he has been so effective at playing.
Carter to Rees. Winds there, Lewis Rees, through the kitchen sink at that one. Unfortunately for him, he missed the ball. Small gains for Notts Outlaws, and Matt Carter towers over umpire Pratt, goes past the umpire's shoulder and bowls to Rees, a fullish spinning delivery which has just helped onto the leg side. Lyndon James doing the fielding, and there's a single, and that's 100 came up. It's 101 for one now. This partnership worth 95. Carter round the wicket, bowls to the right-handed Madsen. Just found the gap on the leg side there. They were tempted by two, but Afridi been pretty busy in the field. Shaheen Shah Afridi, good strong arm, and spears it in again on the bounce to Moore. Moore's the glove man. Carter round the wicket, bowls. Rees dances down, makes it into a full toss, punches it all the way along the ground out to Alex Hales. Really good stuff this. Pause for Matt Carter. There was reasonable calm in that over, and through 10 overs Derbyshire 103 for one.
Great 10 overs. Very, very nice over though from Matt Carter, who has stemmed the bleeding for now from this end. Bowled really nicely. Nice start, and we've got Stephen Mullaney from the pavilion in to continue to Rees, who is continuing to look incredibly good. Yeah, 43 from 28 balls.
Lewis Rees 4 fours and 2 sixes. Madsen's 50, by the way, 26 balls, 9 fours and 1 6, and they've put 97 on. Here's Mullaney, went for 10 from his first over from this end. Bowls from the pavilion end. Lewis Rees just opens the face of the bat, guides it out into the offside. The ball just ran about 6-7 strips away from the one they're playing on, and Matthew Montgomery comes in and does the fielding, but a single was taken. 104 for one. Might be fun a little later on if Notts have got 200 plus to chase. Might just see the likes of Hales and Clark and Munro having to tee off from the start, which is of course their normal game. Next ball from Mullaney, and more damage here done by Madsen, and he's found the top tier of the Fox Road stand. Lovely clean pick-up, lovely execution, and away for 6, and that's the century partnership from just 56 balls, and Wayne Madsen has dominated this partnership, 60 of that century stand.
Wow, that is a sublime cricket shot. Nice slog sweep, well over Cal Corner's head into the top tier of the Fox Road stand, and Wayne Madsen is in sublime form here.
Really is. The ball has been returned to the field of play. The umpires, as always, has to have a look at it just in case it's clattered into some concrete or metal, and in this particular instance I think it might have done it some damage, because you don't very often get the two umpires together, both sort of nodding in agreement and then asking for the box of spare balls to be brought out. So there'll be a slight hold up here whilst they do try and find a replacement ball. I think Notts will be hoping for one that doesn't disappear out of the park. The umpire's just showing it to Stephen Mullaney. Mullaney's probably saying, well, if he didn't hit it that hard, he wouldn't damage it. 110 for one. Seems a long time, Kyle, since Hyder Ali was dismissed.
It does. It seems like ages ago, and that a terrific start that Notts have had has quickly been changed around by Madsen and Rees. They've had a fantastic partnership, and a very quick one at that.
Replacement ball has been found. Stephen Mullaney just counselling one or two of his senior advisors. Shaheen Shah Afridi is just offering one or two words of comfort. He has of course played here before, Afridi, and has seen a little bit of this in the one match he did play here. There were 25 sixes in the one match he's played here before. He ended up being the man of the match, the player of the match, which just goes to show you. Babar Azam got 85 for Pakistan. Liam Livingston got 100 for England. Yet it was Shaheen Shah Afridi with his bowling and a couple of superb catches that got the player of the match. Play restarts with Madsen, and usually for him, mistiming one, but it just fell safe out to Connor McCurr at third, and they take a single, and it's Nelson on the board. Falcons 111 for one.
Superstitious people, please get your legs up.
Well, not It's the Falcons on 111. This one's clipped away now then. Can this be taken? No, it's gone for 6. It clears Conor McCurr on the fence. Did everything he could, and I mean everything, just to get into a position to pour it back, but I think he was already 3 or 4 paces over the leg side. Gone away for 6, and Lewis Rees has 50 from 30 balls, 4 4s and 3 6s, and this has been absolutely textbook stuff from this pair. We always knew that Lewis Rees and Wayne Madsen were dangerous players, and they've saved their best form for this trip to Nottingham. Mullaney bowls again to Rees, and he'll take a single. Both former Lancashire players, Stephen Mullaney briefly, and Lewis Rees had a year or two, and that's the end of the... It's not the end. I think they'd forgotten there was one to come, because Tom Moores was walking down the other end. 118 for 1, and this is the 11th over. Notts need a cluster of wickets. Mullaney bowls to Madsen into the offside, and there is a wicket. Stephen Mullaney gets Wayne Madsen, drilling it to extra cover, and Notts do have the breakthrough, and the crowd roaring. My word, I think a lot of that is with relief. 118 for 2, but what a knock from Madsen. A quick fire 61, and he's gone with Matt Carter, I think it was, taking the catch.
Very nice catch by Matt Carter, and really nicely bowled by Stephen Mullaney. Wayne Madsen, though, can't take anything away from that knock. It was superb, brilliant stuff, but Notts will be very happy to see the back of him.
Joe Clark, they've actually given it to. Madsen originally on the board. Leas Deploy is the new man on his way out to the middle. Had a big red ball 100 here in those dark, depressing COVID times back in 2020. Skipper of Derbyshire Falcons right now, and well, he couldn't have wished to come to the crease at a better time. 118 for 2.
Most definitely. 2 left-handers at the crease now. Matt Carter will be fancying his chances now. 2 left-handers, himself being an off-spinner, spinning the ball away from the bat. Nice little match-up. They speak about match-ups in T20 cricket nowadays, and I think this could be quite an interesting passage of play. Notts looking to try claw back what Derbyshire have done over the past 9 or so overs.
So it is going to be Matt Carter, 2 overs, none for 20. Bowling to Lewis Rees. Little push square of the wicket on the offside. Out to Afridi, single taken. 119 for 2. Brings Leas Deploy down onto strike. He'll take guard from umpire Pratt. Matt Carter, of course, bowling against Derbyshire, the side that his brother Andy played for briefly. Andy played, of course, for several counties, including starting here at Trent Bridge, but had a period at the county ground at Derby. Right, we're ready. Carter bowls to Leas Deploy, and that's better for Notts, as a little gentle push into the offside by Deploy. Carter in once more. This is a low full toss, and the South African skipper of the Falcons is away first ball, or second ball. That's his first run. 120 for 2. Just got to take wickets now. Nottinghamshire, or the visitors will be posting a huge total. Rees is the one they want. He just helps himself to a single. I'd imagine the wise thing here would be for Rees just to work it around until Deploy has got himself set before unleashing the next array of huge blows down the ground. Another single taken by Deploy.
Most definitely. It's the sensible thing to do. Let Deploy get himself in, and then you can continue. Obviously, if the ball is in your area, I think in the form that he is in, he will not.
Carter, nice and full, and that's good from Tom Moores. Takes the ball low down by the stumps, whips off a bail in case, and Matt Carter did really well there. Just 4 from that over. 3 overs, none for 24. 122 for 2 after 12, but they are still going at just over 10 and over.
Going along quite nicely here, Derbyshire. 2 nice overs though from Notts, with the big wicket of Madsen, and we have Matthew Montgomery into the attack from the pavilion end now. Once again, I spoke about matchups a bit earlier. Off spinner to 2 left-handers. Maybe that's why Stephen Mullaney has chucked him the ball.
You can't have too many cooks, as the old saying goes. This is the 7th different bowler that Notts have employed. Matthew Montgomery, his first ball just helped away onto the leg side. Might have been a low full toss, but only cost Notts 1 run. 123 for 2. Century last week in the county championship game against Essex for Montgomery. Now then, is he going to get his first T20 wicket here, as this is helped down the ground by Rees, and it's caught at long on by Alex Hales. Long off, I beg your pardon, by Alex Hales. Comfortable catch, and that is just what the Outlaws needed. Get rid of Madsen and follow it up getting rid of Rees. They shared a century stand, but they followed each other back to the pavilion. 123 for 3. Rees holding out to Hales at mid-off, and Montgomery, with just his 2nd or 3rd ball there, has got a wicket.
Brilliant. Once again, Rees dancing down the wicket, and this time hitting it straight up into the air and being caught instead of finding the gap this time. Another huge breakthrough. They do say that after a big partnership, wickets can fall very, very quickly, and that seems to be the case so far for the Derbyshire.
Here's one of the nicest men in cricket on his way out, Anuj Dal. Got to know him pretty well during his time here. He was another one like Kyle, who spent an awful lot of time out there fielding for Notts during his time here at Trent Bridge without ever getting a first team appearance. Moved to Derby and has played in all formats in the last 3 or 4 years for them, and also does a lot of really good work as a top administrator on the PCA. He's very well respected throughout the game, both for his work on the field and off the field. He comes in at number 5, 123 for 3, as Montgomery got a wicket with his 2nd ball, bowls his 3rd, and Dal is away, just helping it into the offside for a single, as McCurk powers a throw in. 124 for 3.
The one thing Anuj Dal will do is run very, very quickly between the wickets and push the boundary riders.
Montgomery to bowl to Lias Deploy, just deflects this off his hip, away for a single. And Notts won't mind that. In fact, the more deliveries they bowl that only go for 1 or indeed a dot ball, the better. Got those 2 wickets, just dragging Derbyshire back a little bit towards them. Montgomery in again, bowls, cut away for another single, I presume. Yep, Joe Clark had to move sharply to his right and made a good stop. This has been a change from his recent work for Joe Clark, because for the last 3 or 4 county championship matches he's had the gloves on as deputy for the injured Moors. Deploy nudges this one into the offside, and a single taken as Conor McCurk fires the ball in and loses his sunglasses in the process. Good stuff from Montgomery. 127 for 3 after 13.
Nice little spell from Notts there. Nice 2-over block that they've controlled quite nicely there. Another wicket falling for Derbyshire, and Notts will feel very much that another couple of good overs and they can get themselves right back in this game. Donald
listed to come in next. Matty McKeon and Zach Chappell. We know he can wield a mighty blow or two. Mark Watt, George Scrimshaw and Zaman Khan. It's Carter to bowl his final over, the 14th of the innings, and a lovely start to it for Lias Deploy. Lifted it high, up and over extra cover and away for 4. Was that premeditated or just played it on instinct? Either way, it was a glorious shot, wasn't it?
Definitely. I think probably played on instinct. He's, from what I can remember, he is very strong through the covers, and would have thought anything in that area, just let natural instinct take over, and it certainly has. That's glorious.
Ball has been returned to Matt Carter. 131 for 3, the Falcons. Carter bowls, and another heave away on the leg side. I thought it was going down leg. Was that you putting your umpire's finger up there?
I thought that was out. But I'm not the best umpire around. I think all bowlers think every time it hits the pads it's out.
It's a dot ball. I thought it was drifting down, but anyway, it's not been given. And another good delivery from Carter. Remains wicketless, but he dragged it back, certainly, hasn't he? He was 2 overs none for 20. He's now 3.5 overs none for 28, and he's had a couple of LBW shouts, neither of which have been given. This one is... he's bowled him, he's got his wicket, and Leas Deploy, I think there can say that dismissal is largely down to his own efforts, because he's played a very ugly attempted slog sweep across the line, nowhere near the flight of the pitch of the ball, and has been bowled round his legs. Awful.
Not very good. Not very good at all, especially game situation there. No real need for that, and once again Notts are finding themselves back in the game. Carter definitely getting a wicket he deserved after the last 3 overs.
14th over, surely he and Anuj Dal, let's have a look for 2 overs before we get right down to the last knockings, and then can go hard. But that just seemed like a risk too many, and it was bowled neck and crop. Here is Nye Donald then. It started with Glamorgan, Welsh lad obviously, moved to Hampshire, and a couple of weeks ago Brooke Guest, the regular Derbyshire wicket-keeper, middle order batter, sustained quite a nasty hamstring injury, and Nye Donald surplus to requirements at the moment down at Southampton. Hampshire let him go to Derby on loan, so he's coming out to play his 2nd innings for the Falcons. Right-hander, 131 for 4. Important wicket for Matt Carter. Comes in round the wicket to the right-hander, and Donald wastes no time on getting on the front foot, literally, by punching this down the ground to Hale's single taken. 132 for 4. It's been good this from Carter. The second half of his innings, remember, first over it went for 3 consecutive 4s, didn't it, as Madsen tried to take him apart, and you have to say succeeded in doing so.
He did. He most definitely did, as in comes Carter.
Dal on strike, drives square of the wicket on the offside. Out to Lyndon James, single taken. Well done, Matt Carter. Like that, 1 for 30. It's not going to stand out in your morning paper or wherever you read your match reports. 1 for 30, but it was 2 overs none for 20, and they were 2 good comeback overs. Really did put the brake on and got an important wicket. 133 for 4 after 14. It's not that long ago since I was saying they were going over 10 and over. It's not much better, but they are bringing it back. It's 9.5 at the moment, and Notts have got those 4 wickets now.
Definitely pulled it back really nicely over the last couple of overs, and Captain Stephen Mullaney will be really pleased with his troops.
One of the wickets to Mullaney is Samit Patel. Bowls, nice looking cut shot played by Dal. Going to come back for a couple. This will be Samit's 3rd over. There's another one who will be glad to see the back of that Madsen and Rees partnership. His first 2 overs went for 27 runs. Quite expensive in the extreme, but there was a time where Notts just couldn't bowl to either of them. Patel bowls, hit up into the air, and that's going to fall in no man's land. Didn't reach Conor McCurr, who's out on the point boundary, and just cleared the 3 fielders who were on the discs, the 30-yard discs on the offside. That could have gone to hand, soft as anything. Samit a little unlucky there.
It's nicely bowled. Anuj Dal looking to try hit over extra cover into the big pocket of space.
Nye Donald on strike. Here is Patel, 136 for 4, and he's gone for an elaborate looking, not so much a scoop, it almost looked like he was going to dink it over his own head, and missed it completely. Tom Moore's completely unsighted. I don't think he had a deal of chance there. It's gone down as a bye against the keeper. Don't know what you're expected to do there really, with the batter standing in front of you and trying to clip it over your own head. Another single taken here, 138 for 4.
I think it's a bit harsh really, Dave, that. Go down as a bye.
I don't think keepers mind too much. They're fairly philosophical about things like that. He knew he'll have had no chance of stopping it. Here's a little push down the ground. Can Samit get there and prevent a second? He can't, but he did enough as a deterrent, as the ball eventually was fielded by Shaheen Shah Afridi. 139 for 4. McCurr, Montgomery, Mullaney and Carter with the wickets. There's Patel, and again bowls hit back to Samit, and he's taking it on the bounce. Just for a second, don't look at me like that. Just for a second, It looked as if it was a brilliant caught ball by Patel. He fooled me.
Crowd catch.
139 for 4. Just looking at those wicket takers: McCurr, Montgomery, Mulaney. There's Moores, then there's Munro. It's not quite M&M, is it? It's M&M and M&M and M&M. A lot of M's in the Nottinghamshire side, particularly in that middle order. We're not sure how they're going to bat this evening, but you'd imagine Montgomery, Munro, Moores and Mulaney might just follow each other. It is going to be Stephen Mulaney, the skipper, who got the all-important wicket of Wayne Madsen. He's going to bowl his third over, 139 for 4 after 15. Bowls to the right-handed Donald. Drops this on the leg side. They're going for 2. Conor McCurr with the return, and he's fielded excellently tonight, Conor McCurr, but that's probably one of his poorer returns in. All he wanted to do, I think, was just get the ball in the air on its way back, but if he'd just paused for a moment, a little bit of composure there, that second was possibly a risky second. 141 for 4 here on BBC Radio Nottingham. Hope you're enjoying the coverage wherever you're following us. Hit down the ground. Where's Hales? Gets there, can't take it on the full. Applause from Mulaney for Alex Hales. Just wondered, we'd lose sight of the fielders down below us on the long on and long off boundary, and very often, if they're nice and straight, they can get into a position to take a catch there, and Hales just wasn't quite straight enough. 142 for 4. Dallas 7. Moore standing up and executes a stumping. That is brilliant, Tom Moores. That is brilliant. Stephen Mulaney standing there like the angel of the north with his arms outspread. That's a Shaheen Shah Afridi salute. Nice to see Mulaney doing it. Wonderful stumping from Moores. 142 for 5. Dal's gone for 7.
That's fantastic. You wouldn't even think that Tom Moores has had a broken thumb. That's a fantastic stumping down the leg side. He's moved his feet beautifully, and Stephen Mulaney has picked up 2 in no time. 142
for 5. Missed the replay of it. We've got a monitor here. Here comes Zach Chappell. Wasn't sure it was down the leg side, actually. I think he was just sort of drawn forward towards it, maybe went through the gate, but whipped off a bail quick as a flash. So Zach Chappell, late of this parish, on his way out to the middle. Big picture, big photograph of Zach Chappell on the screens here at Trent Bridge. Just wonder how he'll go this evening with ball in hand. Could be an interesting little tussle there, Chappell against Hales and Clark. All that's coming up, of course, when Notts begin their chase. 142 for 5. Was looking at somewhere between 200 and 220 whilst Madsen and Rees were doing their thing, and of course it's still maybe, but Notts are dragging it back with every ball that goes. Here's Mulaney then into Zach Chappell. They'll know each other well, and Chappell helps it out onto the onside. Conor McCurr with the throw. It's a good one this time, right by the stumps, and Mulaney would have whipped off a bail but realised that Donald had already got back. Good fielding from McCurr. I like the cut of his jib. He's a big in-your-face cricketer and plays the game hard. Lovely fella. 144 for 5. Mulaney to bowl again to Zach Chappell. Drives this down the ground to Alex Hales. Notts in the green and gold. Derbyshire in the all dark blue with the light blue names and numbers. Sponsors logos, the all-important sponsors logos. 145 for 5. Stephen Mulaney bowls to Donald. Plenty of elevation. Might well have enough on this. Yes, he has 6 runs. Again, just looking at Conor McCurr down here. He circled underneath it, trying to get into a position where he could take the catch, but it disappeared somewhere down below us into the lower Radcliffe Road stand. And that's gone for 6 runs, and Trent Bridge here right now. A round of applause on the screen here. A young supporter, much missed by family and friends. A dear supporter of the club, Finlay Topham, and the crowd just asked to honour the memory of Finlay. Nice moment from everybody inside Trent Bridge, including the umpires and the players, who all stopped and just looked at the images there on the big screen. So we've had 16 overs, 151 for 5 is the score. Stephen Mullaney through 3 overs, 2 for 37 now. Samit Patel, he's bowled 3 overs, none for 32, and Patel coming out of the attack. Talk about replacing chalk with cheese. Samit Patel out of the attack, Shaheen Shah Afridi. They both bowl left arm, Kyle, but that's where the similarity ends. It's going to be Afridi to replace Patel.
You did say we'll see him later, and he will be bowling the last 2 overs of, well, in the last 4 overs, but will bowl his last 2 overs from the pavilion end.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? He's going to bowl 17, certainly. Bowling to Zach Chappell. Bowls, and Chappell swings from the hip, misses it. That's a slower ball.
It looked like a slower ball. Tom Moore's taking it on the bounce, so must have been a slower ball. Zach Chappell looked like he was very early on that, and I never thought I would say that to Shaheen Shah Afridi.
Yeah, I think it just bounced again, looking at it, in front of Tom Moore's. So Afridi back into the attack. First couple of overs went for 10. Couple of leg side wides, which he won't be too thrilled about. Here he comes again. Can he get a wicket in this spell? Bowls to Chappell, drives down the ground. He runs the first one quickly. Nicely fielded. Right there in the deep, and there's only a single. 152 for 5. Brings Donald on to strike. Matty McKeon, Mark Watt, George Scrimshaw and Zaman Khan to come. In the 17th over, a buzz around Trent Bridge. I've seen Notts fight back. Afridi bowls, strikes him on the pad. They're asking for another LBW. Again, it's turned down. There could have been a communication difficulty there, because Nye Donald, hit on the pad, was anxious to know what the umpire was going to make of it. Meanwhile, Zach Chappell was herring down towards him and had to be sent back. Afridi interested, the umpire not.
No, I think that is heading down leg side, unfortunately.
He comes again, Afridi, looks in good rhythm. As you'd expect, Donald clips it out onto the leg side, and Donald runs into Afridi, or Afridi runs into Donald. They both apologise. They're both... It's always the way, isn't it? You bump into somebody on the pavement and you both say sorry, don't you? That just seems to be the way of things. But Nye Donald certainly wasn't meaning to turn and bump into Shaheen Shah Afridi, and he wasn't trying to impede the batter. And nice little exchange between the two of them, no harm done, and comfortable second eventually taken. 154 for 5, the Falcons, as Afridi bowls. It's gone for the scoop, another LBW shout, and Shaheen Shah Afridi gets the wicket. Boom, boom. 154 for 6, and Donald goes for 13.
This time Donald trying to go on the ram shot and missing it, and what's hit him on the pad in front of all 3, and well, just by the looks of the replay, that is as out as you're ever going to get.
Yes, I know his father-in-law is the one they called Boom Boom, but when I interviewed him the other day and said, well, what do you like? Do you like Eagle? He said, I don't mind Boom Boom. I don't.
Tell you what, I used to love watching Boom Boom Afridi play. Not the worst person to be called after.
Well, here comes Matty McKeon on his way out to the middle, coming in at 154 for 6. Matty McKeon last year entered the record books for I suppose as a bowler, for the worst possible reasons. In the quarter-final match against Somerset at Taunton, he went for 82 runs, 4 overs, no maidens, none for 82. I think Craig Overton gave him a bit of tap, and Riley Rousseau as well. 4 overs, none for 82. Here's Shaheen Shah Afridi to bowl to Matty McKeon, and his first ball is Yorker length, and it's dug out. And despite that, going for 82, it wasn't the worst thing to happen to Matty McKeon last year.
Well, I think he'll think that's a lot worse than me getting him out at Lady Bay, but I'll take it.
You did. He was your first wicket, but not second, wasn't he, Matty McKeon?
He was. Just sliding one through the gate.
See, I've done my homework on you. Lovely shots, lovely crowd shots on the big screen here of the people inside Trent Bridge enjoying themselves in the sunshine. As I said, there are a few seats, but there are lots of other grounds up and down the country that would be very, very envious of the number of people inside Trent Bridge here. It'll be interesting to see the official capacity as Conor McCurr comes back to bowl the 18th over, 154 for 6. He bowls now to Chappell. Little gentle push through mid-on and just asking his partner whether there was the possibility of 2, but Joe Clark quickly on it, 155 for 6.
Once again, it looks like not employing the tactic of going into the wicket with the leg side field with fine leg, deep square, cow corner, long on, out, going into the wicket as McCurr is coming in.
He got rid of Hyder Ali, just his second ball. Oh, this one's been drilled into the stumps at the non-striker's end, and Matty McKiernan will feel he's unlucky. His fortunes from last year have dragged over onto this. Dismissed by Kyle van Vollenhoven against not seconds, and now his glorious shot against Conor McCurr drilled straight into the stumps at this end. 156 for 6. McCurr on his Notts debut on loan from Surrey. Right arm quick. This one has been taken by Moores and would have given the impression, I think, in some areas of the ground that he'd gone down the leg side, but it wasn't. Zach Chappell had backed away that much. It went between Chappell and the stumps.
Yep, really nice. Followed him. Chappell looking to give himself room. Really clever bowling from McCurr. McCurr's followed him and gone between him and the stumps. Can't be a wide.
A little surprised to see that Conor McCurr's only played 12 T20 matches before this one. Useful player, pulled away now then, that's going to go for 4. That was a fearsome slap through mid-wicket by Zach Chappell, who of course very early in his Leicestershire days, even before he came to Trent Bridge, gave notice that he certainly knows which end of the bat to hold. Got a 90 odd in the county championship, one of his early days for Leicestershire, and sent in at number 7 here. I think he could probably, over the course of the North Group fixtures, return some handy contributions. He's on 9. McCurr in again to Chappell. Oh, he's missed this one. Gave him the big build-up there, Chappell, and he's had a swing and a miss. Format again this year, folks. 14 group matches, 2 groups of 9. So in theory, he should play 16 matches, the other 8 home and away. But bizarrely, you only play one side at home once. In Notts' case, it's Yorkshire. Notts play Yorkshire here next Tuesday, but don't have an away fixture against Yorkshire. In Northants, it's the other way round. They go to Wantage Road in a couple of weeks, but Northants don't come here. 160 for 6. Chappell on 9. Conor McCurr bowls right in the block hole. Must have him. Surely the umpire says no. Must be bat involved. If he gives a leg bye here, umpire Pratt has given a leg bye, and I can't believe that it's not a run and it's not been given out. That looks in front of middle stump to me, but there we are. 161 for 6 at the end of the 18th.
Not quite sure what has saved him there. That's really nicely executed Yorker from McCurr. Beautifully bowled once again. Executed 2 Yorkers in a row now, and from the naked eye up here, it really did look like that was out. We will see the replay now, and maybe just sliding down leg side.
Well, you've got the player's eye. I've got very old and
experienced eyes,
well,
though.
We're not in line. Did look out to me, but there we go. 161 for 6. Freedy then, 3 overs 1 for 13, comes in round the wicket, bowls not a low full toss. We've seen any number of those this evening, and Zach Chappell punches it down the ground for a single, moves on to 10. 162 for 6. So maybe we're looking round about 180 here, and Notts won't mind that, I don't think, considering the terrific position that the Falcons were in at the halfway stage.
Most definitely.
10 overs, 103 for 1. Matty McKiernan on 1. Freedy bowls to him, hit up into the air, and he's got enough on that, all the way for 6 over Alex Hales and into the Hound Road stand lower. Nearly went for a drink in the Derek Randall suite. That was a good blow from Matty McKiernan, 168 for 6. And you bowled him out?
I know. Goodness me. He must have had a late night or something. That's a top shot.
It was a really good shot from Matty McKiernan. Freedy won't be too enamoured about that. Comes in again, the Pakistan quick bowls. This is a Yorker which will have jarred the hand of McKiernan, I'm sure. Jabbed down on it, and that sends reverberations all the way. Oh, he's broken his bat. He's broken his bat. It was just the sound and everything we could see about there as he jabbed down on it. It's one of those that can really do your wrist a nasty injury, but on this occasion it's done the bat a nasty injury. 168 for 6.
It is one of the worst feelings to ever have. Very nice follow-up though, isn't it? Getting hit straight back over your head for 6. Next ball, fire in a very fast Yorker. Beautifully bowled.
He's done all right to Freedy, went for 6, but I'm really excited about what we're going to see, provided he stays fit, provided he stays here, provided he plays all or pretty much all of the games. I think we've got quite an exciting 2 or 3 weeks of Shaheen Shah Afridi to look forward to. A reminder, just while we're waiting for the bat to be changed here, if you want to listen to Ella's Ladies Night In on BBC Radio Nottingham, Ella is there. It's on digital radio and on your smart speaker, but here on 95.5, 103.8 FM and online, BBC Radio Nottingham, bringing you coverage of the Outlaws' first blast game of the season. Also got the BBC commentary on the club's live stream. I know a lot of you like the pictures. Afridi bowls, and this next one's eased into the offside. That won't have done that batter a deal of good either, because that was right off the bottom. 169 for 6.
That's what you get from one of the best in the world. Not often miss his mark, and he's just nailed 2 superb deliveries in a row there.
I think both of us are looking forward to seeing Zaman Khan bowl as well. He's obviously a newish face on the international scene, just burst into the Pakistan side. Those of you that know your cricket will know all about Lasith Malinga, the former Sri Lanka player, who bowls a little bit like him. Next one is a slower ball that has completely bamboozled and deceived Zach Chappell, who was, he was just fending away at fresh air, wasn't he? Missed it.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Once again, another slower ball. Looks like the off-cutter and has done Zach Chappell all ends up.
Looks a fierce competitor, Afridi. Lovely fella off the park, the brief moments I've spent with him. But a fierce competitor. He's going to bring an awful lot to this side. Bowls again now, and Chappell has just found out for himself, because he's hit it back at the bowler, who shies at the stumps. He missed, fortunately, Zach Chappell. He missed the stumps. It wouldn't matter had he been hit. And Tom Moores runs down the other end and is the first to give him a little bit of a low 5, and then the captain does the same, and all of his teammates pretty much saying well done, Shaheen. 4 overs, no maidens, 1 for 21. He is going to turn in some superb performances. I'm convinced of that over the next few weeks, and just enjoyed the little taster of what we've seen this evening, Kyle.
Definitely we'll always want to do really well on your home debut, and I think he can be incredibly happy with that performance. He's bowled beautifully, picked up the wicket, probably deserved more.
There's Conor McKerr, going to bowl the final over. McKerr, 3 overs, 1 for 25. He's bowling to Matty McKiernan. And McKiernan
the bottom of his bat is being tested.
You have to laugh. I'm not sure how many bats he's brought to Trent Bridge from Derby with him, but he's certainly not using the middle of any of them. And that said, he hit Shaheen Shah Afridi, of course, for a big 6, but since then I think he's 3 out of 3, the very bottom of the bat. Once again, that would have jarred his wrist and his hand. Nice delivery from Conor McKerr. Start of the final over, 5 balls left. This one is just pulled along the ground. Joe Clark quickly to it. Are they going to come for 2? They are. In comes the throw. Good throw from Joe Clark. Conor McKerr couldn't take it cleanly. McKerr whipped off a bail, but he didn't have the ball, unfortunately for him. And Zach Chappell was, in any case, I think, going to make his ground. 171 for 6.
Really nice run in between the wickets, especially at the end of the innings. You need all the runs that you can get, especially at Trent Bridge.
This one just slowly setting itself up to be an absolute cracker, I fancy. McKerr bowls once more. Next one driven into a similar area out to Joe Clark, but this time they respect the arm of Clark and only settle for a single. 171 for 6. Just a reminder, you can't say these things often enough, Derbyshire haven't won here in the T20 since 2013. This will be 10 years. 7 Notts wins, 2 rained off. Haven't beaten Notts anywhere since 2015 in this format. 172 for 6. McKerr bowls again. Next one driven by Zach Chappell up to Alex Hales. Single taken. 173 for 6. Might not need 180 at this rate. It's a good over from McKerr, who's having a little chat with the umpire there. Heaven knows what that's about.
Who knows? Who knows? But he's executed all his skills this over fantastically well.
Notts going to complete their overs comfortably within time. That's Conor McKerr bowls again. Oh, this one's pulled away. There we are. One word from me and a boundary is pulled. Well, you said it as well. Executed his skills. What was that meant to be? One of those slow half-tracker loopy bouncers, but it just sat up and was pulled away for 4.
I did think that after I said that, I thought watch him go and bowl a half-track, and he just has.
Yeah, we've all done it. 177 for 6. 1 ball left in the innings, and Conor McKerr threw his head back in frustration. Been good this from Notts since they got rid of Madsen and Rees. Thought Leas Deploy tossed his wicket away. McKerr bowls, final ball of the innings, should only be 1 here. Out to Afridi, he's already got the ball back into the keeper, and 178 for 6 is going to be Derbyshire's allocation. Conor McKerr, 4 overs, 1 for 34. Shane Shah Afridi at the other end, he's 4 overs, 1 for 21. Very much enjoyed watching those two bowl. There were moments in that innings where I thought, as I said at the time, Notts were going to go for an awful lot more than 200. And Lewis Rees and Wayne Madsen had both got themselves into positions where they'll be kicking themselves a little bit, Kyle, I think, because they'd really got on top. They were dominating, there were boundaries coming, the fielders were pushed as deep as they could be. If you couldn't get a 4 or a 6, they were getting singles, but Notts fought back. They got them both within an over of each other, and then, as I said, Leas Deploy, and quite frankly, 5, 6, 7 and 8 nowhere near as good as 1, 2, 3 and 4. Hyder Ali didn't produce nowhere near as good as 2, 3 and 4 on the night, and you could almost see it coming. They'll be very disappointed to be 103 for 1 at the halfway stage and finish 178 for 6.
Definitely. I think Derbyshire will be kicking themselves a little bit, especially with the start that they had. Obviously with Deploy and Madsen, and the way they went about it with Rees up front with Madsen, pardon me, they were fantastic. And then to only finish on 178 will be really disappointing. I think Stephen Mullaney will be incredibly pleased, so will Pete Moores. I think they'll be very happy to chase that on what looks like a fantastic wicket.
So what have you made of the evening so far, the T20 Blast experience here at Trent Bridge? It's not the most intimidating crowd in the world, but they are close to the action. They do get passionate. There will be noise later on, especially if Notts are getting near the line. But it's been thus far a terrific start to the evening. It needs, from the Notts perspective, of course, to have the happy ending. But the way they've come back, I think, has got the crowd on side. Should they be chasing 215, 220 and lost, might have been a different kettle of fish. Definitely.
I think they've definitely got the crowd on their side. They're a very knowledgeable crowd here at Trent Bridge, and I think they can appreciate that they've really dragged it back quite nicely from the start that Derbyshire had, and I think they'll be right behind the team, right behind Stephen Mullaney and co to chase this down and start the blast in unbelievable style.
So we're into the interval here at Trent Bridge. Just at the moment, for all you Magpie supporters out there, there's a nice little montage on the screen of Notts County's season. Notts County, of course, promoted to the EFL, and 1 or 2 of the players have come along just to just to speak to Colin Hazelden on the pitch. I can see the skipper Kyle Cameron down there, and he's got the trophy. The keeper's there with him as well, Sam Slocum. We were hoping that Macaulay Langstaff would be here, but I understand he hasn't made it this evening. But the Magpies fans in the ground, I think, will be enjoying this rather more than any Chesterfield supporters that have come along to watch Derbyshire this evening. Might sort of be a double whammy for them. But let's just see how Notts go when they begin their chase in round about 10 minutes' time. They'll need 179 to win. Derbyshire have reached 178 for 6. Derbyshire players who are already out there. Terrific ovation, as you'd expect, for Kyle Cameron and Sam Slocum, who were down there with the National League Playoff Winners' Trophy. They, as you'd expect, as they walk round the boundary edge, and to stop off for lots of photos and sign lots of autographs. But lovely to see the guys here. Now then, can Notts Outlaws chase down a victory target of 179? Going to be an interesting start here, Kyle, because we're going to see Zaman Khan open the bowling. Pakistan quick, slingy action, a little bit like Lasith Malinga. His first ball in the blast last Saturday against Lancashire disappeared out of the ground for 6. He bowled a half tracker that Lancashire's Luke Wells pulled away for 6. So welcome to the blast, sir.
Exactly. So you'll be hoping for a better start tonight. Was watching him bowl in warm-up, and I cannot believe how similar he is to Lasith Malinga. It's incredible. The game will be very happy to have someone bowling like that again.
Here he comes from the pavilion end, bowling to Joe Clark, and we're underway. First ball is quick, and my word, that's gone through to the keeper, searingly quick, or so it appeared. And Clark can't see under the helmet, but you can imagine he's just blinking. What did I miss there? That was a missile.
That was rapid. That looked rapid, and I think it's taken Clark a little bit by surprise there. That's a really nice start.
2 for 41 he actually took against Lancashire from his 4 overs. Here he comes again, Zaman Khan bowls, and this one on the pads of Clark, and he tucks it away for a single. And Notts Outlaws are up and running. He's a big mate of Shaheen Shah Afridi, plays for Lahore Qalandars, where Samit Patel has spent a couple of winters in the PSL. Slippery quick. And, that brings Alex Hales on to strike. Got the floodlights on at Trent Bridge. They always pop them on in the interval. Very much doubt we'll need them really. We've got clear blue skies overhead. We've got a helicopter away to our right, just hovering. Don't know what that's looking at, but must be a gorgeous view from up there as Hales drives into the offside and through the offside for 4. Not sure if that should have been cut off by Mark Watt or not, but away it went. And Hales, see ball, hit ball. Notts 5 without loss.
Lovely cricket shot. Lovely cricket shot. Nice little punch, and it is beautifully timed, and it's raced away through the covers for 4. Really nice start from Alex Hales. What a way to get off the mark.
Mark Watt was contemplating diving for it, and by the time he'd run that thought through his mind, the ball was already crossing the boundary rope, and Wayne Madsen at slip immediately has been brought out onto the leg side by Elias Deploy. 5 without loss. Halfway through the opening over, Alex Hales with a boundary. Zaman Khan, white ball in hand, comes in, bowls, and Hales digs this one out, just turns it towards the square leg umpire and ambles down to the other end for a single. 6 without loss. Wonder if we'll see Zach Chappell sharing the opening bowling duties. Number of options. Big George Scrimshaw, he's a skyscraper of a man. He will also be seen, I would imagine, in this opening power play. So some serious fast bowling talent as Zaman Khan bowls a full toss, which Clark has clipped to mid-wicket, and that's a decent stop by Madsen, who's just been brought out of that slip cordon for that very purpose.
Really nicely fielded. Really nicely fielded. Wayne Madsen, again, just like he was when he was batting, full of energy. Diving to his left-hand side, picks it up, throws it back into the keeper.
Hyder Ali, who's desperate to make a few friends, rushed over and shook his hand warmly. Zaman Khan bowls, and this one gets up round about the ribs of Joe Clark, fended away. You can imagine in a county championship match that would have just dollied up nicely for a short leg, but of course there isn't anybody within 30 yards, so Clark takes a single. He keeps the strike, and Notts Outlaws 7 without loss in pursuit of a victory target of 179. The top scorer, Wayne Madsen, who made 61, Lewis Rees 53, Stephen Mullaney with 2 for 37. The pick of the Outlaws bowlers in terms of the figures, but you and I were both just having a look during the interval. Matthew Montgomery 1 over 1 for 5.
He'll be sitting there thinking, Skip, could I please have had another one?
Came on and got rid of Lewis Rees and was then sent out into the bleachers. Here is Big George. Don't know if you had any association with George Scrimshaw, but he's an absolute Empire State Building of a man.
He nicked me off second ball.
Where's 9? Scrimshaw to bowl down the leg side. That's a big leg side wide. Joe Clark threw everything at it and still couldn't reach it. Couldn't reach it with a ladder. 8 without loss. It's a poor start, isn't it? No balls, more so than wides, but wides as well. It's a free run and an extra delivery, and it's just poor discipline, really, isn't it?
Definitely can't start your spell like that.
There he is, Scrimshaw into Joe Clark, into the thigh pad. That's better. Not a lot you can do with those, Joe Clark. And it's not as if they've just walked out of the dressing room or the dugout. They've actually spent all of the interval, all of the Derbyshire bowlers out there with the coaching staff, just turning their arm over, getting loose. But it is all about what you actually do once the umpire says play, isn't it? And that was a poor first ball from Scrimshaw.
Most definitely.
Got a 100 contract last year for one of the sides, George Scrimshaw, which raised a few eyebrows. He bowls and Clark again can't get it away, working it to Madsen. 8 without loss. The setting sun a little bit of a problem for the fielders on the Fox Road side of the ground, but it won't be too long, I don't think, before most of the ground will be in shade.
Looks like Scrimshaw has found his radar here after the first ball being a wayward one. 2 after that being speared in at Joe Clark's hip.
There he comes, striding in past umpire Pratt, and this is belted away through the leg side by Clark. He was obviously just waiting for one that he could pick his length there somewhere round about leg stump, and completely followed through with maximum effect. The ball just falling short of the rope, but a welcome boundary for Joe Clark, moves him on to 6. Outlaws 12 without loss, halfway through the second over here on BBC Radio Nottingham. The start of the T20 blast for another year. It'll last for about 3 or 4 weeks. Top 4 in each group go through to the quarters. Scrimshaw bowls, full toss. And Clark has again got it away. There should be at least 2 there. Will it be cut off? Good sliding stop there from that's Hyder Ali, and they do come back for a couple. 14 without loss. It's not Hyder Ali, it's Anuj Dal. Good sliding stop. He's in the right place actually, because the sun's behind him. That's the side to be on, isn't it? The Bridgeford Road side of the ground. Definitely
got nothing to worry about there. Ball going up into the sun and not being able to see it.
Clark has 8. Next ball is pulled convincingly through mid-wicket for 4. Clark on to 12. 18 without loss. In the entire, this is of course 20 years now, the 21st season of the blast. It began in 2003, so 20 years. Notts have only had 6 centurions. I'm not expecting there to be one this evening, but 6 centuries scored, and 4 of them belong to the players out there in the middle. 2 for Alex Hales, 2 for Joe Clark, and the other 2, Dan Christian, and the very first one of all was hit by Ricky Vessels against Derbyshire here back in 2017. Here's Scrimshaw, bowls and driven too well by Clark. He's hit it straight to Leas Deploy at deepish mid-off, and that ends Scrimshaw's over. An untidy one really, went for 11 runs. Outlaws 18 without loss after 2.
Derbyshire will be quite upset with that over. I think Scrimshaw being a little bit untidy, gifting Joe Clark 2 boundary opportunities, which you cannot afford to do. And Clark finds himself on 12 off 10, and Hales 5 off only the 2 balls so far.
Saman Khan is going to have another over. This is his 51st T20 match. He's only 21 years of age. I spoke to Shaheen Shah Afridi the other day, sort of overlooking the fact that he's only 23. He said Zaman Khan, youngster, he's the future of Pakistan cricket. Here is the future. Comes in and bowls to Alex Hales, who drives up to mid-off. Takes the single. Deploy doing the fielding. 19 without loss. Clark on to 12. Hales has 6. And Notts have got a little bit of a platform. Just saw a shot there of the dugout on the monitors we've got here, and you can see Colin Munro all suited and booted and ready to go. Just wondered if they might leave him for the middle order and either Tom Moores or Matt Montgomery, but neither of them looked as if they were ready to come in next, as Clark takes another single, 20 without loss.
Ticking along quite nicely now are Notts, and going along quite nicely. They'll be very happy with the start so far.
Joe Clark, a reminder, it's his 27th birthday today. Very much like to play a major role in getting Notts over the line.
Would be a nice birthday present, wouldn't it?
Would indeed. A slight delay here whilst Derbyshire tinker with the field. We've pushed Anuj Dal to deep backward point as Zaman Khan bowls to Hales, and is that good bowling, or well, I guess it is really, because Hales has pushed it straight to Anuj Dal, exactly where he put him. It's 21 without loss. Hales on to 7.
Nice field placement, pardon me. I think always looks good when the skipper makes a decision like that, and then the next ball goes straight there.
Joe Clark back on strike. Of course, he's won the blast twice. Not too many have done it with different counties. Did it with Worcestershire and with Notts. Zaman Khan in bowls, and this one's pulled away by Clark for another single. 22 without loss, because his great mate Ben Duckett, he's got 3 winners' medals to his collection. A couple with Northants and one with Notts Outlaws in 2020. Duckett not available for Notts at the moment. Of course, he's very much part of the England setup in readiness for the forthcoming international summer. Zaman Khan to bowl to Hales. Sweeter timing this time through the leg side. Kyle signals 4, so does umpire O'Shaughnessy. My word, he just clipped that one away effortlessly.
Can't bowl there. Bread and butter, half volley on leg stump, and Alex Hales is not going to miss out there, and he is timing it really, really nicely. He moves on to 11 from 5, Notts 26 for no loss.
This is Alex Hales' 390th T20 match. 156 of them for the Outlaws. He's on strike again. Zaman Khan bowls once more down the leg side, tickled off something for 4. Is it going to be runs? It's going to be a tap of the knee from umpire O'Shaughnessy, but Notts won't mind. They don't care how they get them, really. 4 more to the total. 30 without loss after 3. Even I can work that out without a calculator. They're going at 10 and over, which Derbyshire did, didn't they, throughout their first 10?
Most definitely. And I think going along quite nicely. Haven't really played a shot in anger, have they? Ticking along really nicely, capitalising on some not very good bowling at times, and they are 30 for no loss. And Mark Watt into the attack.
Yeah, Mark Watt is a Scottish international. Bowls left arm spin. He's a very capable performer. Hugely experienced in the international arena with Scotland. They play an awful lot of games around the globe. Here he comes now, bowls, and this one's sliced away on the offside, and he's just managed to lift it over the ring and away for 4 by Clark. Not the most convincing of strokes, but it doesn't say that in the book, as they say, as umpire Pratt signals 2 hour scorers this evening, Roger Marshall and Jane Hoff, and a little switching on of the light above the scorer's room indicates that they've made a note of that boundary. Clark on to 18, 34 without loss. Watt in again, bowls, and another really elegant swing of the bat from Clark, and that's 4 more, this time a little straighter. That was rather more convincing. Back-to-back boundaries, 38 without loss.
That's a wonderful shot. Mark Watt going a touch fuller this time from the first ball and elegantly played over the top. Couple of bounces over the rope. Joe Clark moving on quite nicely now.
Always tough for the bowlers here. Mark Watt chewing very hard on his gum there, just asking his fielders who are saving one just to drop back on the discs. Bowls now, this one slammed down the ground. 1-2 bounces over the rope. 4-4-4. Mark Watt's figures, 3 balls, none for 12. Joe Clark enjoyed himself. He's on to 26.
Really nice again. Mark Watt nice and full again. Joe Clark this time straight back over his head for a 4.
If you're just joining us, Derbyshire won the toss, opted to bat first, made 178 for 6 as Watt in again to Clark. Bowles, who cuts this one through the offside for 4 more. Not sure what the cricketing equivalent of shelling peas is, but right now Joe Clark is preparing Sunday lunch. He's absolutely clubbing Watt to all parts of Trent Bridge, and he's moved on to 30, 46 without loss. Told you the crowd would start to get engaged if Nott's got on a bit of a roll, and this is 5 in a row. Just bounces inside the rope like the symmetry. Don't hit a 6 now, Joe. Let's have 6 4s in a row. 50 without loss. The 50 comes up from 24 balls. One of those was a wide, so still 1 ball left in the 4th over, and his skipper Leos Deploy's gone over and put an arm round Mark Watt. What's he saying to him then? What's he saying, Kyle?
I actually don't have a clue. I don't know what I would say, really. I think
you've never gone for 20 in 5 balls.
I think I've done it in less, Dave. I think I've done it in less, but my skipper's never come and put an arm around me.
50 on the board. That is terrific from Joe Clark and Alex Hales, principally Clark, because Hales has only faced 6 balls. Clark is 34 from 17, 5 consecutive 4s. Can we get the full house? He's in again. Bowles. Clark backs away. He's elevated it away. He's spoilt it. It's gone for 6. Oh, Joe, you absolute spoil sport. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 6. Lovely cricket shot over extra cover. 56 without loss. Mark Watt, thank you.
Wow. Well, Joe Clark has certainly got the crowd engaged, and I think that was the best one of the lot, really. Once again, giving himself a little bit of room. Straight over, wide, mid-off, and that's gone for 6. But spoilt it all, didn't he?
It has indeed. At the same stage, Derbyshire, of course, they lost Hyder Ali early on, and they were 34 for 1. They did have some big overs. I think when we get to the halfway stage, we'll have a look there at the comparisons, probably more meaningful. Zach Chappell will be desperately keen to make an impression here for Derbyshire. 3 years at Trent Bridge. Just I don't know, just couldn't get him on the park often enough. He's going to bowl to Alex Hales. Zach Chappell is quick, bowls, and Hales tried to take him on and just slaps it along the ground to mid-off, and there's no run. 26 now, Zach Chappell. And he played 5 T20 games for Notts in those 3 years, picked up 5 wickets. Seen him bowl some terrific spells. Crowd getting noisier and noisier. Joe Clark has just got 1 or 2 of them out the bars, 1 or 2 of them on the edge of their seat, and certainly 1 or 2 of them just a little noisier as Chappell from the pavilion end bowls to Hales, backs away, beaten for speed. Partly, I think, because he backed away, he found himself not really in an ideal position to play a ball 6 inches outside the off stump, but it was a quick delivery of Yorker length from Chappell.
He is really sharp, and it's really nicely bowled. I do agree with you. Probably gave himself a little bit too much room there, looking to carve him over extra cover.
Well, that is a Hales shot, which Chappell will know all about. Comes in again, bowls, and a little push and run from Alex Hales. He's happy to take a single. Not yet got the views of Alex Hales on him being asked to change squad number. He's always had number 10, as regular Notts supporters will be aware. But Shaheen Shah Afridi is another one who's always had number 10, and I think he was especially keen, and he was given a cordial welcome when he arrived at Trent Bridge. When he asked for number 10, he got it. So Alex been bumped to number 3. Here's Chappell To bowl to number 33, Joe Clark. Clips this one to mid-on, and there's no run. This has been good from Zach Chappell this over.
Very nice start. He would have wanted to come here tonight and put in a really nice performance and go quite nicely and show Notts that they are missing out on a really good player. So he started quite nicely. He can be quite happy with the start.
Fifth ball of the over incoming. Bowls to Clark, another Yorker which Clark digs out. That's just the second single of the over. 58 with Outlaws. Momentum can swing and change and turn almost in an instant. A couple of wickets or a really big over. Notts took 26 from the last over, and you thought, crikey, they're absolutely heading for the finishing line already, and then you get a comeback over like this from Zach Chappell, just 2 singles from 5 balls. And again, the momentum, at least for the time being, has just been slowed down. Chappell into Hales. He's lifted this one up, and there's an opportunity here. Will be taken, should be taken, and is at the second, if not third time of asking. And Hales has gone. I think it's Anuj Dal with the catch, and he's fallen backwards on the base of his spine, and it's a wicket. In fact, Saman Khan is the catcher. Apologise to both of them. Anuj Dal was rushing in from the offside. Zaman Khan was heading backwards and made a bit of a meal of it, nearly spilled it, but Hales has gone for 12.
It's a good catch in the end. Peddling backwards is never easy, and he's ended up catching it at the second attempt. Alex Hales once again looking to give himself room, and what looks like a slower ball from Zach Chappell has been his undoing this evening. As well, superstar Colin Munro has walked to the crease now.
New Zealand international, of course. Colin Munro coming in at 3, played for Trent Rockets last year, the blast winning Trent Rockets. 36 years of age, another one born in South Africa. He was born in Durban, although the family moved to New Zealand when he was very young, and of course he became a Kiwi international. Played plenty of times in the blast before, in spells for a couple of spells for Worcestershire, one for Hampshire. Yet curiously, his highest score in this competition is 66, and that was made here last year for Worcestershire Rapids, but he does have centuries in this format. In fact, 5 of them, so a very capable player. Wicket for Zach Chappell, and it's going to be George Scrimshaw to begin the final over of the power play. 58 for 1 after 5. Bowles and Clark just trying to scoop a slower delivery down the leg side and missed it completely.
He does play that shot quite nicely. He plays that shot quite nicely in the Big Bash when he got his 100 there. So it is a shot that he does execute quite well, more often than he doesn't actually. So can understand him going to that with fine leg up in the ring in this power play.
Last over from Chappell. Just 2 runs from it. Scrimshaw bowls, and there's a welcome return to the run scoring for Joe Clark. He's clubbed this high over mid-wicket and away for 6. Has disappeared somewhere down below us.
Some people say, why would you scoop it when you can do that, Joe?
So Clark, 47 not out from 22 balls on his birthday. They're into the 6th over here, 64 for 1. The end of this over, Derbyshire at the same stage were 56 for 1. So Notts ahead, but they've lost Hales. The victory target is 179. This could be an absolute cracker. Scrimshaw in again, and more runs here for Clark, and 6 more of them. This time over the offside. It was a little bit of a slap. It wasn't a textbook extra cover drive. Did slap it a bit. He's looking very inquisitively at his bat, which he then holds aloft to celebrate a half century from just 23 balls. That is some mighty smiting there from Joe Clark on his birthday. 53 from 23.
Really nice. Joe Clark has absolutely slapped that straight over extra cover, and it has gone the distance. I don't think he's got all of that, and just shows you how well he hits the ball. In comes Scrimshaw.
To bowl to Clark, and this is going to run down the leg side. Could be 4 leg byes. It's 4 somethings. Tap your knee, umpire. Yeah. Well, did he tap his knee? Did he tap his knee? No, he's given that as runs. Well, that was a strange one, because umpire Pratt, those of you that watch cricket regularly, especially those scorers and umpires amongst you, will know when the umpire is about to signal an extra, he sort of sticks his arm out to sort of pre-warn the scorers, and then Joe Clark ran past him. It had gone for 4, and Clark was down at this end and must have said, "You must be joking, umpire, hit that," and he signalled 4 instead. Down the leg side, this one. It's not been given as a wide, so maybe it went over. Maybe it went over leg stump as Clark moved across his sticks. 74 for 1.
Well, Joe Clark's 50 has been incredibly entertaining, taking on the Madsen role. Very similar type of innings come in and been incredibly flamboyant from start until now, really.
Didn't give you his figures, by the way, Joe Clark. 23 balls, 7 4s, 3 6s in his 50, and he's got another boundary here. This has been an expensive over, and George Scrimshaw has bowled 2 overs, none for 31, and that was not just getting it going again. 20 from that particular over. They are 78 for 1 at the end of the power play. That's 22 runs clear of where Derbyshire were at the same stage.
Really good power play. Really good power play from Notts. They can be incredibly happy with that. Joe Clark has been in sublime touch. Looked really, really good.
New addition this year. I don't think we've been able to see it yet, those of you watching the live stream. When a ball does go for a 4 or a 6, or very occasionally I manage to pick up on it, there are some huge flags. A couple of, you can't call them ball boys, can you? A couple of volunteers, a couple of flag wavers. That's the word, Bracegirdle. That's the word. A couple of huge flags. I mean, they're bigger than you'd wheel out at the Olympics with the Outlaws, the newish Outlaws logo, and they get up there and they're waving them away in front of the crowd, just getting the crowd very excited. Just wonder if we can get one of those on the live stream for those of you watching that, as Chappell bowls to Munro and he's away. Watch the fun from the non-striker's end, and gets out there and gets his first run as an Outlaw. Colin Munro, the Kiwi. 79 for 1. Exactly 100 needed, Kyle.
Well, exactly. Munro will be incredibly happy to be off the mark. As I said, coming to a new county. I know he scored runs in the blast before, but will be really happy to get off the mark. Always breathe a sigh of relief as in come Chappell to Clark.
Now, and Joe Clark has absolutely driven this 350 yards down the fairway. The cricketing equivalent is one clean into the Hound Road stand for 6. A mighty blow from Clark. Did say at the start of the innings that there's just not enough runs for either of them to get a century here. When I was talking about Clark and Hales, just hold the front page. 67 from 27, not so 85 for 1. 67 out of 85. Clark's got it on him, and this ball, I'm afraid, might have just seen its last action of the day. The umpires are getting together. It's been returned to the middle, and Derbyshire have shown it to umpire O'Shaughnessy, and maybe there's a piece out of it. It went clattering into the Hound Road stand, and again we're going to have to change the ball.
No, it looks like that ball's night is up, which doesn't surprise me the way Joe Clark has been striking it this evening. It's been a very, very nice start to the blast for Joe Clark, especially considering that it is his birthday, as we have now mentioned it a couple of times this evening. So he'll be very pleased about that. So will Peter Moores, with, hope I am not going to use the commentator's curse here, but so far with Notts being 85 for 1.
Replacement ball has been retrieved. Just had a message through. Stephen Mullaney is a very keen supporter of one or two charities. In fact, I'll mention it just after a second, as Zach Chappell bowls, and this is chopped to backward point and fielded by George Scrimshaw. A lot of the players do their bit for charity, and I've just had a message through from Stu. Could we give a big shout out for a big local derby up north between Beverley Town and Cherry Burton, and they're playing for the charity that Stephen Mullaney is a patron of. That's tomorrow. That's for used to, and for the skipper. Next one is dropped into the offside, and there's a single taken. 87 for 1. Are the Van Volendam leg spinners getting an airing tomorrow?
Hopefully. There should be. We're at home.
We are Clifton.
We are Clifton.
In the Notts Premier League.
Yeah, we are Clifton in the Notts Premier League. We're against Woollerton at home at Clifton. Start at 11:30 as in comes Chapel to Joe Clark once again.
Clark's on 68. That's hitting full on the pad, and Clark is out. Zach Chappell with a merry little dance there. It was a little bit like Uncle Albert of Fools and Horses doing a bit of a dance there in the Nag's Head as he got that wicket. Not sure what that was about from Zach Chappell. Nice to see off Joe Clark with a bit of a send-off. 87 for 2, and Trent Bridge rises to Joe Clark. LBW to Zach Chappell for 68 at the crease for just half an hour. Faced 29 balls, 9 fours and 3 sixes. And just maybe, Carl, just maybe we've been cheated a little bit there by Joe Clark going as early as he has. We've had half an hour's entertainment, but I could have done with another half an hour of that.
I agree. I think there'll be quite a few people in the crowd that will be really sad to see the back of Joe Clark there. He really entertaining knock, but unfortunately that Chappell has now got his second and it's bowled quite nicely, would you say?
I'd say bowled very nicely. He's bowled 11 balls, figures of 2 for 11. New man is Matthew Montgomery, got a wicket earlier, 1 over 1 for 5, came on, and second ball Lewis Rees, who was going like an absolute train, hit Montgomery down the ground into the safe hands of Alex Hales, and skipper said at the end of the over, "Thank you, Monty."
Well bowled.
Well bowled, yeah.
Job done.
Save it for your time with the bat. So he's out there. This is his T20 debut. Notts with 4 T20 debutants this evening. Zach Chappell in to bowl to Montgomery in his away first ball, just opening the face, runs it down to Scrimshaw down below us. 88 for 2. First time since 2009. How sad is this that Notts have fielded 4 debutants in the same game. The start of the 2009 season, and Alex Hales and Luke Fletcher and Ali Brown and Kevin O'Brien were the 4 on the last occasion. 88 for 2 as La Bamba is blaring around Trent Bridge. The reason it startled me is that's my ringtone. I thought somebody was ringing me. Here's Matty McKiernan. He'll be very pleased that Joe Clark's gone, because McKiernan's earlier over was... Oh no, it was Mark Watt, wasn't it? It was Mark Watt who went for the 26. We've not got the bowling figures up on the board. Now we have McKiernan, bowling for the first time. His leg spin, bowls to Montgomery. Pushes it out through the covers for a single. Notts in pursuit of 179 to start their campaign with a win. Need 90 more from 77 balls. They're 89 for 2.
Nice to see a leggy again. Once again, I am incredibly biased, but it will be nice to see how the leggy goes here. Leg spinner can spin it, or does spin it both ways, so it will be really nice to see the matchup that he does have to Munro.
Munro, 2 from 2. Just chop this to backward point and set off in hot pursuit of a single. Munro then sent back by Montgomery. 89 for 2. McKiernan in again. This time they will get the single. Skewed off the outside edge to short third. 90 for 2.
2 really nice balls sliding across the leggy, the left-hander. That did look like a googly. Not going to bowl many spinning into him. Then comes McKiernan to Monty.
In again, bowls, and a little bit of a lap behind the corner. This is becoming a little bit repetitive, but Notts won't mind. They've got themselves into a position here now where they can just milk it for a few overs. Very much in contention. 91 for 2. Munro on strike, the left-hander will get another single. 92 for 2. Suspect Tom Moores might come in next, then could be Mullaney, could be Lyndon James, could be Samit Patel, could be Shaheen Charafridi to go out there and hit the winning runs. There's McKiernan. And this is helped away just over the fielder by Montgomery, who's not averse to the reverse sweep in county championship cricket, so it's going to be right up his alley, this particular format, and the opportunity to play the reverse sweep just helped him out there, dinked it away nicely for a boundary. 96 for 2 after 8 overs. Montgomery 7, Munro 4, and McKiernan's first over went for 8.
Nice first over. Will be really disappointed that the last ball has gone for a boundary, undoing some of the really hard work that he had built earlier on in the over. But a really nice shot from Monty. He does play that shot exceptionally well, and it's a great boundary option.
Here's Mark Watt. 1-0, 26-0. Comes in and bowls to Munro, and will get a single eventually, belatedly. Watt went to the ground there in instalments. It looked as if he might get an overthrow here. No, I don't think either of them were particularly alive or alert to the possibility they might be able to steal one there, as an errant throw came in, hit the stumps and ran off into no man's land. But they settled for just one. But Mark Watt probably should have stopped that, but he went down in instalments and didn't get the ball in the end, and they took the single. 97 for 2. Montgomery 7, Munro 5. Outlaws require 82 from 71. Watt bowls from seemingly well behind the crease, almost behind the umpire, and his reward is for a boundary 4. And there go those huge flags waved enthusiastically to signal the 4 and signal 3 figures coming up for the Outlaws. Notts 101 for 2 in the 9th over. Watt in again, and Montgomery this time down on one knee, just helps it onto the leg side for a single. 102 for 2. Just about an over ahead of where Derbyshire were at the same stage, the Outlaws, but Derbyshire went very much on a downward slide once both Madsen and Rees had followed each other back. Watt bowls, and there's Munro at his best. Picks that one up and says, half a dozen of your finest, please. Way over the leg side. One bounce into the first row, the front row of the William Clark stand for 6.
Mark Watt is bleeding runs at the minute. That's a lovely pick-up shot from Munro as he's got down onto one knee and helped that over deep. Backward square leg for 6 runs.
He's into double figures. He's on 11 from 7 balls. Mark Watt with the blue cricketing boots bowls. Munro just drops this onto the leg side. Anuj Dal quickly over the outfield. Keeps them to 1. 109 for 2. Notts require 70 from 67. It's almost getting towards a runner ball, isn't it? And at that stage you've pretty much got the game where you want it to be, as Montgomery plays another attacking drive through the... Let's just check. They've only got a single, but that bounced nastily in front of Anuj Dal. Everybody's asking him if he's okay. Look from here as if it got him flush in the face. He's raised his hand to 2 or 3 people, and now nobody's looking and they're getting on with things. He's just wiped it a couple of times. Just seemed to... Did you see it? It seemed to take a horrible bounce up into his chin, or I thought for a second in his mouth, but he says he's okay, thankfully, at the end of the over, as Nuts the squirrel sets about dancing on the concourses in front of the young fans. 110 for 2 after 9.
Always good to see young people in the stadium again, and it was a long winter. I think really pleased that the blast is back.
Spin from both ends. Matthew McKiernan to Matthew Montgomery. Again down on one knee, and Anuj Dal, well, was he expecting the bounce there? Because he misfielded it, and they come back for 2. So Notts don't end up on Nelson. 110 for 2 becomes 112 for 2. Montgomery on to 15. He's played nicely. Only been at the crease for 8 deliveries. Faces McKiernan again, drives along the ground for a single. Thought Leas Deploy was down below us, but the crowd suddenly just erupted as if it was going to beat him and go for 4, but it wasn't. It was just a single. Start of the T20 blast. Notts Outlaws versus Derbyshire Falcons. There'll be lots of these matches on BBC Radio Nottingham over the next 3 weeks or so, as Munro takes a single. All your favourite programmes, your usual programmes still available right now. Ella with Ladies Night In on digital radio or on your smart speaker. 114 for 2. 65 now required as McKiernan bowls to Montgomery, drives it back to Matty McKiernan, and I didn't think that was a caught and bowl, that particular crowd catch.
He's bowled a nice spell here so far as McKiernan. He's bowled really intelligently, I think. It's been really good in pulling Derby back.
There's squad number 21 in the Derbyshire blue, bowls one that Montgomery, I think he was just a little bit cramped for room, tried to square cut it, missed it, and not taken cleanly by Nye Donald, the on loan Derbyshire glove man. On loan from Hampshire with Brooke Guest nursing a hamstring injury. Next delivery swept away nicely, but protection out there in the deep. Hyder Ali fires in the return. End of the 10th over, so we're halfway through. Notts 115 for 2 after 10. They require 64 from 60 balls, and they're 12 ahead of where Derbyshire were. But this is the stage now where Derbyshire were 103 for 1, and then they lost in consecutive overs, Madsen and Rees, and didn't really recover from then. I thought Leas Deploy, who went for 9, he was bowled by Matt Carter. He was trying to reach 5th gear really before he'd settled at the crease. Anuj Dal superbly stumped for 7. Nye Donald plumb LBW to Shaheen Shah Afridi for 13. And 178 for 6 represented a very decent fight back by the Outlaws.
Most definitely. And not find themselves in a really good position as Scrimshaw's at the top of his mark.
This time he's bowling from the pavilion end, 2 overs from our end of the ground. He's bowled with a slingy action, one that's been called as a wider. Just wondered if umpire O'Shaughnessy might give him the benefit of the doubt, but umpire O'Shaughnessy very rarely gives the bowler the benefit of the doubt.
Batter's game. It's a batter's game, Dave.
Didn't look to be that wide, did it? Maybe if I saw a replay, but on first sight. Anyway, plus point for Notts as Montgomery works this next delivery, the first legal delivery of the over for a single. He's moved on to 18. This pair have combined nicely, 30 from 21. Just kept the board ticking over after Joe Clark's dismissal. Alex Hales out earlier for 12, but Clark 68 from the first 87 runs. Really gave the innings the fillip, the tonic, the grounding that it would need if you're going to chase down something approaching 180. Scrimshaw bowls and Colin Munro, with seemingly all the time in the world, just guides it away on an angle of 45 for another single. Nothing flashy about Munro, is there? He's workmanlike. He'll place the ball in gaps and punish you if you bowl a bad ball to him, but keep the board moving, and that's important in this format. Incredibly
intelligent cricketer, and I think he comes across like that straight away. Just with his 14 runs so far, you can see very calculated.
So it's Montgomery back on strike, and he will pull his first 6 in T20 cricket away into the Fox Road stand. They need hard hats in there. Again, up come the big flags. Close up of Peter Moore smiling, and also Sami Patel down there on the bench. He's happy. Doesn't look if he's yet ready to come out and play an innings. What a shot that was from young Monty. 124 for 2.
Beautiful. Scrimshaw's come in, banged it halfway down, and Monty has said, don't bowl there.
These figures are a little messy now for Scrimshaw, who's in again, and Montgomery punches it through the offside for 4 more. 10 from 2. Scrimshaw none for 44, and he's still got a couple of deliveries left in his 3rd over.
Monty once again giving himself a little bit of room, slapping this one over extra cover, hits those, what is a really big square at Trent Bridge, and kicks on, and Anuj Dal, who is at sweeper, has got no chance, and it races away to the boundary. Monty all of a sudden 28 off 15, Notts 128 for 2.
They require 51 from 56, and when you get to less than a run a ball, you really are ahead of the game. Scrimshaw none for 44. Comes in now to bowl a fullish delivery which Montgomery digs out. That'll be a single. 129 for 2. Notts now need 50 more here on BBC Radio Nottingham. Thank you to those of you who've stuck with us this evening, and those enjoying the pictures following on the club's live stream. I know there's been a huge interest in the pictures from all over the place. 129 for 2 as Scrimshaw bowls. This one's just helped away nice and fine at 130 for 2. Lots of Shaheen Shah Afridi's supporters back in his homeland tuning in to see how the Pakistan quick would go on his Outlaws debut, and it went pretty nicely indeed. It's the end of the 11th over, 130 for 2, not 12 ahead of where Derbyshire were, so at the moment still just easing to the finishing line in relative comfort.
Matty McKernan to continue so far. Well warranted a third over here. I think he's been really good. I'm not just saying that because he's a leggy. I think he's been the pick of the Derbyshire bowlers so far, aside from Zach Chappell.
Munro's on 15. He's on strike. The left-hander helps that one away for a big 6. Again into the Fox Road stand, and again people ducking and diving in all areas. That was another monster blow. The sixes are being racked up this evening. Colin Munro's second. He's on to 21, 136 for 2, and this partnership's gone to 49. Very much like the look of this Outlaws side, the 2023 version. What we've seen this evening, and that's the 50 partnership as Munro belts it down the ground. 50 from 28. That's been terrific, Kyle. It's
been beautiful. Once again, not a shot in anger. Beautiful cricket shots, and these two have really looked the real deal, carrying on from where Joe Clark started them off.
Montgomery 29 of that 50. He's on strike, and this is a fabulous shot. Textbook extra cover drive, and Colin Munro goes down and pats his partner on the back, on the shoulder there, and I'm sure he said, well done. That was a sumptuous extra cover drive. Really nice from Montgomery, who's on to 33.
He has hit that incredibly hard. Sweeper's taken 3 steps and hit the brick wall behind the boundary rope.
Not going to be. He's some talent, this lad. Clips this one to wide-ish long on. Ida Halley doing the fielding. Montgomery on to 34, 142 for 2, and Notts very nearly getting the finishing line in sight now. 37 required from 50. Munro on strike. McKiernan bowls. Another single to be taken here by Munro. They might well come. Well, I think if it was nip and tuck, they'd have chanced their arm there and come back for a second, but paid respect to Anuj Dal and settled for 1. 143 for 2. Munro, by the way, for those of you that like these sorts of things, wears squad number 82. McKiernan bowls to Montgomery. He'll get a single. Asked him the other day why 82. He says, well, I don't know. When I first got picked for New Zealand, they gave me shirt number 82, so I've stuck with it since. So that seemed as good an answer as any. End of the 12th, 144 for 2, so Notts are going along at 2 a ball, and they need less than 4.5 and over from here on in.
It's been really good. I think Monty and Munro have gone about it the right way, maybe the way Derbyshire should have gone about it in the middle order, and they've been fantastic, taking calculated risks when needed, but other than that they've looked very comfortable, haven't they?
This isn't Leos Deploy. The screen said Leos Deploy to bowl, but it's Zaman Khan. Leos Deploy is never going to bowl with a 30-yard run up with the keeper stood back 25 yards at the other end. It is going to be Zaman Khan. 2 overs, none for 15. The opening bowler, another Pakistan international. There's been a bit of a recurring theme, that and the amount of people born in South Africa that we've had both in and out of the commentary box this evening. A lot of South African born players on the field, including the two batting, Montgomery and Munro. Zaman Khan bowls to Montgomery, who Dill scoops it over the keeper down here, and Scrimshaw will cut it off, and it will be 2. Remember when there was only Tilakarani Dilshan who played that shot, and he had it all himself, the Dill scoop.
How times change. now everybody plays it.
Should have trademarked it, shouldn't he?
He should have. Yeah. He should have trademarked it.
146 for 2, Montgomery on to 37. The DJ just ramping up the crowd's enthusiasm. Doesn't need ramping up too much. Montgomery again with some lovely cricket shots this evening, gets another single. 147 for 2, my highest snooker break that time.
Can't say that I'm very good at that sport. I try to stay away from that. Not much of that is played back in South Africa, so it's not for me, I don't think.
It was a bit of a lie. Probably the 7 at the end is my highest snooker break. It's going to be Zaman Khan to bowl to Colin Munro. Knots require 32 from 46 balls. Here is Zaman Khan. Bowls now. Bouncer pulled away. Now then, will this go all the way? It won't. Scrimshaw's a big lad and he'll catch this just inside the boundary. And Zaman Khan shakes the hand of Colin Munro, who probably wasn't in any mood whatsoever to shake the hands of the bloke who just dismissed him. It was banged in short by Zaman Khan. Munro on the pull all the way down to long leg, and Scrimshaw just inside the rope. Judged it nicely. He couldn't have been better positioned. Munro's gone for 23 at the crease for half an hour, faced 15 balls, didn't hit a 4, but he hit 2 6s, and it's 147 for 3.
I think he'll be quite happy with the start. He would have liked to probably see the side through, but unfortunately not to be. We are now having Tom Moores join us at the crease.
Yeah, left-hander for left-hander. I wonder if he was going to come in at 5 anyway, or whether they had predetermined that if the left-hander is out, it would be Tom Moores. If it was the right-hander, maybe Lyndon James or Mulaney or Patel. We'll, I guess, sort of find out the thinking as the competition goes on. But right now, what Notts have tried up to this point has worked pretty well. Wasn't necessarily thinking that halfway through the Falcons innings when 103 was on the board, 103 for 1 after 10 overs, and both Madsen and Rees were passing their 50 and seemingly in no hurry to get themselves out, but they did, or were dismissed, and Notts pretty much been in charge ever since. So it is Tom Moores, the new man. He's on strike, just trying to, I think, put a little bit of pressure on him. Fielder brought up on the leg side, so Zaman Khan into Moores, and banged in short, goes past his nose through to the keeper. He's had a lot of nets over the last couple of weeks, obviously, since the finger has healed the broken finger, Tom Moores, but this is his first time in the middle, obviously, for the senior time. He's had, I think he's played in one of the T20 second 11 T20 warm-up games just to get some time with bat on ball, but he's had quite a bit of time in the nets, and clearly, as we saw from his glove work earlier, good to go. Pulled off a spectacular stumping. Zaman Khan bowls. Moores gets a boundary. He won't. Oh, now then, will he get a boundary or not? It's been fielded down here on the rope, and that's good. That's really, really good from the Derbyshire fielder down there, Lewis Rees. That is really good, sir. He slid by the rope, dragged the ball back. The crowd certainly were keen to inform Lewis Rees and everybody else that he was touching the rope, but Lewis got up straight away and signalled to the umpire, so Moores is away with a boundary. Thought that was good from Lewis Rees.
Really is nice to see good sportsmanship still in the game. I think that's the one thing that cricket do so much better than any other sport.
151 for 3, the 150 brought up. And, that means only 28 more are required. Would take something pretty dramatic here, but let's not start counting any chickens yet. Zaman Khan bowls, and as I said, Tom somewhere, maybe on the shoulder, maybe the middle of the back, as he spun round trying to pull it away. End of the 13th, 151 for 3, and just before the game is brought to an early conclusion, a little bit of Sweet Caroline to entertain the crowd.
Crowd favourite, they love it, don't they? Just listen to them.
And they're in good voice. Those that came from along the A52 to support Derbyshire aren't necessarily going to have a great evening, particularly those that have come from the north of the county and support Chesterfield, because they saw Kyle Cameron and Sam Slocum parade in the NatWest Trophy, that the National League Trophy, I beg your pardon, that Notts County won at Wembley a couple of weeks ago. It's going to be Zach Chappell. Terrific figures so far, 2 overs 2 for 12 for the former Notts man. Bowls now, and another magnificent stand and deliver shot over extra cover from Matthew Montgomery, and this is a gem of an innings, an absolute gem of an innings. Had any dealings with him?
I have. I was lucky enough to play in the T20's finals day with him when he played for Warwickshire, actually, and we ended up winning, and lovely man, which he can do it all. He can do it all. He is some player.
He's on 42. As Kyle said, he's some player. Chappell bowls to him, and this time just drops the bat on it, runs it out to deep mid-wicket where Anurj Dal does the fielding. He's on to 43. He has got a weakness though, Matthew Montgomery. He's scored 2 centuries for the Notts in the county championship, dismissed for 178 and 177, so I've found his weakness. Get him into the 170s and you've got a chance.
I'd like that as my weakness.
Yeah, me too.
I think a lot of people would, you know.
He's been terrific, really has fitted in well since slotting into the Notts County Championship side, and clearly like what they see is a variety of stroke play. Makes him ideal for T20, as we're seeing, as Tom Moores gives this one everything outside the off stump, doesn't get anything on it, and the ball goes through to Nye Donald. He's not had to take too many, the standing glove man, has he? No,
he hasn't. He's just been watching as the ball has been disappearing to all areas of Trent Bridge this evening, as the crowd are still in full voice here.
156 for 3, Zach Chappell into bowl to Tom Moores. He'll cut this to third man, and Montgomery's come all the way down and goes all the way back. My word, Derbyshire missed a trick there. He was close enough to shake hands with Tom Moores, who hadn't left his crease. Montgomery went and Moores wasn't going, so Matthew Montgomery ran 2.
I was about to say, you think Monty can get 2 added to a score there?
There's Chappell. 2 balls left in the 14th over. Zach Chappell bowls to Tom Moores, just drags it away off his hip to deep square leg, takes a single. Moores on to 5, 157 for 3. Fancy the crowd having whole heaps of fun out there with the headphones on. Sometimes you can't hear what they're singing or what the jokes are, but there's certainly a body of them that I suspect will be going on somewhere else later.
Most definitely, especially when the weather's like this.
It's been a lovely evening. 157 for 3. Next ball is steered away for 4 by Montgomery, who goes to 47. Knew it was full, he knew it was wide, so what did he do? He just put his bat down on the ground and ran it away. Just let the natural angle run it away to the third man fence for 4, and it's 161 for 3, and Notts need 18.
Showing he's not all about big powerful shots. He does have that delicate touch, and that's a really, really nice deflected shot past short third man, and that has raced away for 4. And Montgomery now finds himself 47 of 24, Notts 161 for 3 after 14. This is becoming quite a statement, isn't it, Dave?
It is indeed. It's going to be Zaman Khan once again.
DJ getting the crowd ready.
really is. Moore's on 5. Notts need 18 from 6 overs. There's one of them, helped away onto the leg side, fielded by Matty McKiernan. Single taken, 162 for 3. Into the 15th over. Kyle van Volendam alongside me. He's joined in with the commentary for the recent county championship game, and they've been very much looking forward to this one. I think the game has probably lived up to expectations, and certainly the evening has been terrific as Montgomery drops this on the leg side. They run the first one quickly. No need, I think, to risk a possible run out. 163 for 3. I'm guessing you've enjoyed it, what you've seen.
Loved it. Well, how can you not? Not a cloud in the sky, good cricket, some fantastic shots, and sitting next to yourself, you know, not legendary commentator. It's always good to be next to you, Dave.
I wonder if this will be the start of a successful campaign for Notts in this format. I just wondered, in fact, I said when speaking to David Jackson on Radio Nottingham before the game started, as Zaman Khan bowls a bouncer, Moores has gone through with a shot through to the keeper. Just looked at the Notts 11, and with Ben Duckett available, you'd think, wow. But without him, I just wondered where the runs are going to come from. But I've got no fears anymore because of what I've seen from Montgomery. You know, he's unknown in the sense that he's not played a blast game for Notts before. He's only played a couple in his career, and that were 4 or 5 years ago as a very young man for KwaZulu-Natal. So this is really the birth of what potentially could be a white ball superstar. Here's Tom Moores smashing this one away for 4. Square of the wicket on the leg side. The umpire had to just be light on his toes just to get out of the way. 4 more, 167 for 3, and Notts are 2 big hits away from winning this. They need 12, and they've got 32 balls in which to get it, and that in T20 circumstances, that's a luxury, isn't it? 12 from 32.
That's lovely. Once again, very dismissive from Tom Moores, and no one's even moved in that's hit the boundary.
Alex Hales made 12, very much played second fiddle in that opening partnership. Joe Clark 68, Colin Munro 23, Zaman Khan to Moores again, once more just takes the boundary and then pushes it into the gap for the easy single, and that's 168 for 3, and Moores on to 11, and Notts now require 11 from 31, and Montgomery on 48. Grand scheme of things, a couple of runs here or there don't matter too much, but I'd love Montgomery to get a half century. This innings has deserved a half century. I mean, then we'll get greedy and say, you know, we very much, or I very much hope he's there until the end. This has been a sparkling knock on debut. Zaman Khan bowls to Montgomery. Well, there's one of his 2 required, moves to 49 not out, 169 for 3, and Notts require 10. And that's the end of the 15th over, 169 for 3. There are 30 balls left. I don't think we'll get all of them in.
No, I don't think we will either. Monty 1 away from what is a well-deserved 50, taking that red ball form and transferring it into white ball cricket. Been really impressed with him. You've obviously watched a lot more county cricket than I have, and will be able to make a much more judged opinion. But what do you make of the transition that he's made into the first team?
I just think he's a lovely young man first and foremost, but he's a terrific young cricketer, and well, the world's his oyster, as they say, as Chappell bowls, and there is his 50. Very well batted, Matthew. Settled for 1. 27 balls for Matt Montgomery, 6 fours and a 6. And Trent Bridge rises. Very, very good knock. The bench, the dugout, they enjoyed it as well. Tom Moores comes down and they touch gloves, as is the modern way. 9 required now from 29 balls. Derbyshire making 178 for 6. Stephen Mullaney with a couple of wickets. A couple of the debutants also getting one. Conor McCurr and Shaheen Shah Afridi. Matthew Montgomery got a wicket. Tom Moores on strike, can't get this away. Madsen doing the fielding. He top scored for Derbyshire with 61. Lewis Rees made 53. Matt Carter got a wicket as well. He came back strongly, really did help put the brake on things. He was 2 overs none for 20, having to bowl early on in the power play, then came back, finished 4 overs 1 for 30. A shaven-headed Chappell bowls to Tom Moores. Gentle push onto the onside. Oh, just thought they were going to go for non-existent 2 there, but they were just teasing, they were just toying with Derbyshire, as they have done for certainly the latter part of this contest. 171 for 3, Notts required 8 from 27.
That old adage of never running on a misfield. Nearly committed the crime.
There's Chappell. Montgomery on 50. Again, he's turned it away off his hit with minimum amount of fuss. Anurj Dal doing the fielding. A reminder, Notts are back in action again. This time tomorrow, 6:30 start at Old Trafford against Lancashire Lightning. That'll be a tough one, folks. And again, commentary on the FM frequencies on BBC Radio Nottingham. Mick Newell, the Notts director of cricket, will be joining me hopefully in the commentary box at Old Trafford to bring you the next step on the journey. Next ball past Tom Moores, a slower one, back of the hand delivery. Bounce before reaching the keeper. 172 for 3. Notts require 7 from 25 balls. Chappell's been good. I think Derbyshire are very pleased with how Zach Chappell's gone in the first 2 months of the season. Red ball and white ball. Got 2 of the 3 wickets to fall this evening, and tidy enough figures here. 2 for 25. This is his last ball. Bowls to Moores, and he will punish him for another boundary. Clatters the ball into the wall at the base of the Fox Road stand for 4. So Chappell finishes with 2 for 29. Takes his cap and spectacles from the umpire, and in a moment or 2 I suspect he, along with the rest of them, will be heading back to the dressing rooms, because Notts need 3. It's 176 for 3 after 16.
And Tom Moores is hopefully looking at a nice little start back in the team after a broken thumb. Do him the world of good staying out there. His 14 balls out in the middle, nothing like time in the middle compared to being in the nets and hitting balls in the nets. Nothing can substitute it. So Notts have had a nice start so far this evening. Hopefully Monty can finish it off, as Scrimshaw is at the top of his mark.
Well, Scrimshaw might get his 50 here. Notts require 3, and Scrimshaw's none for 46. Bowling to Montgomery is 51 not out. Notts require 3 to win. This is deflected away, and a wicket. You heard the crowd. They were animated for a split second, and then the groan as he's picked out Lewis Rees down at long leg. Again the scoop. Timed it beautifully, would have gone for 6, but just inside the rope, Lewis Rees takes a comfortable catch, and that is that. Montgomery's out for 51, but that has been a gem of an innings, an absolute gem of an innings. Montgomery faced 29 balls, it's 6 fours and a single, with the crease for 37 minutes, 176 for 4. It's a shame he's not there at the end, but that really has been a major statement. I think he's here to stay.
Couldn't have said it better. Hi lads, I am Matthew Montgomery and I am here to stay.
I did say we were going to get a whole raft of Notts middle order or top order batters together with the same initial. We've had Munro and Montgomery and Moores and now Mullaney. Let's hope we don't see Conor McCurr batting this evening as well, because there might be the wheels might have come off if Conor McCurr has to bat. But it's Stephen Mullaney, the captain, and again, this would be a nice poignant way to start the campaign if the skipper can just nudge them over the line here. Mullaney will be on strike. Scrimshaw might just feel that the wheel has turned a little bit for him. He's got a wicket. 1 for 46 always sounds better than none for 46.
Most definitely. he'll be very pleased with that wicket, even though it's been a hard night, as Scrimshaw comes into Mullaney.
Bowls now, and Stephen Mullaney's chopped on. Oh dear. Well, there's twists and there's twists. Notts have gone from 176 for 3 to 176 for 5, and big George Scrimshaw is on a hat-trick. Stephen Mullaney getting a ball short of a length. He went to pull and he's bottom edged it onto his own sticks. Well,
the saying stumps everywhere is a very good one here. Stephen Mullaney chops on from a short ball from Scrimshaw, and we now have Lyndon James walk to the crease on a hat-trick ball.
So here comes Lyndon. Feel a little bit for the skipper, Stephen Mullaney. Picked up a couple of wickets. He won't give a jot about getting a first ball, nor provided Notts get over the line. We've known and chatted and talked to Stephen Mullaney about his thought processes so many times over the years, and he honestly won't give an absolute jot. The very ultimate team man will just want to get over the line, and that's what he was trying to do there. He was just trying to do it in one hit, but a bottom edge onto the stump. So potential hat-trick opportunity for George Scrimshaw. Bowling to Lyndon James, 176 for 5. Here is Scrimshaw in and bowls, and Lyndon James drives it back and fielded by Scrimshaw on the bounce. Only been 2 done against Notts in T20 Blast, one by Dominic Cork right back at the start of the competition. I think it was 2004 actually at Old Trafford in his Lancashire days, and one a few years later, many years later, was it Sean Tate, the Australian quick, when he played for Essex, came here in a quarter-final and got a hat-trick. Notts have never had one. Here's Scrimshaw bowling to Lyndon James. Notts need 3 down the leg side, and that's going to be a wide. Notts required 2. Get him in wides. 177 for 5.
They all count, and Scrimshaw now having to bowl an extra ball in the over. If it does get to that stage, could finish the game here. Lyndon James still not off the mark yet. One tickle away from running away to the boundary though, Dave, that ball.
Floodlights are very much burning brightly now. We're coming towards the end as James drives, and it's nicely stopped at mid-on, and there's just going to be a hastily scampered single. 178 for 5, so the scores are level. Notts require 1 run. Lewis deploy, the Falcons skipper, bringing his fielders in. There's no point having them on the fence, really, is there?
No, not at all. Tom Moores will be looking to finish at this over. Cow corner, deep backward square, fine leg and third man, however, are still out as Scrimshaw comes into Tom Moores.
Notts require 1, and Moores has pulled this one away. Caught! Scrimshaw gets his 3rd wicket in the over, and it's a catch by Zaman Khan down at long leg. What a curious over this has been. W, 0, a wide, 1, and now another W. Not entirely sure what sort of website that is. I'll tell you what sort of website it is. It's a Send for Samit website, because here comes Samit Patel out of the middle, 178 for 6. Crikey. The over began, let me remind you, 176 for 3. It's now 178 for 6 as Tom Moores departs. Caught Zaman Khan, bowls Scrimshaw for 16.
Well, I did say that fine leg was out, and Scrimshaw banged it in, and Tom Moores found his man. And all of a sudden, Notts are making a bit of a meal of it.
So here is Samit Patel, the very definition of Mr. T20 Blast. He played in the first season back in 2003. He's still playing. He's played more matches than anybody else. He's just behind Danny Briggs in terms of wickets. Danny Briggs, who's played for 3 counties. Hampshire, Sussex, and now with Warwickshire. Samit, of course, always with Notts. Just settling himself, 1 ball left in the over. Well, Scrimshaw has gone from 0 for 46 to 3 for 48. And he's got 1 ball left in his spell. Notts still require 1. Scrimshaw round the wicket to Samit Patel. Bowls now. This has gone up in the air and it's going to go for a boundary. Over the keeper's head and down over long stop, and Samit Patel hits his first ball away for 4, and Notts have won by 4 wickets with 3 overs remaining. And well, they've got over the line pretty comfortably in the end, despite a few blips and hiccups in that final over. And that is a great start to the campaign. 2 points from the first match, up and running with a victory. You have to say Joe Clark very much set them on their way, the foundations for a very decent first half of the innings. He made 68 out of a score of 87 for 2 when he was dismissed. Hales had gone for 12 by then. 23 for Colin Munro. Matthew Montgomery, not fair to call him a revelation, but he was absolutely terrific. Half century from 23 balls, 51 he made. Tom Moore 16, Stephen Mullaney unluckily chopped on first ball, but Notts have got over the line. They've got the win, and that will send the majority of this crowd home very, very happy indeed. 1 down, Kyle, 13 to go.
Wow, what a start to the blast. We've had it all tonight, I think. Some incredibly lovely shots, some really good bowling at times, and a little bit of drama to send us on our way this evening in the final over. It had it all, didn't it? But Notts, all in all, will be incredibly happy with that win. Start off the competition with a nice win under the belt, and will take a lot of confidence going up to Old Trafford tomorrow.
Yeah, the beauty of it, or rather the flip side of it, is 14 matches. You'll obviously play half of them here, half on different grounds, different size boundaries, different sides. Obviously they'll come up against some of probably better quality in terms of what we've seen this evening. I'm thinking predominantly of tomorrow evening, Lancashire. I mean, they do look a very strong outfit. Notts are going to have to be at their best, but there are signs tonight that the foundation is there for Notts to have most bases covered. I was obviously taken away by Matthew Montgomery. I was a little concerned where the runs were going to come from without Duckett. Not so concerned now. Munro looked at ease, he just settled in there at the number 3 slot, played nicely. Clark has found his form in recent weeks. He really has been timing the ball very nicely in the county championship, and he's carried that on here. 1 or 2 more than should have done got to the middle, and on the bowling side, well, they had 7 different options tonight. 1 or 2 more successful than the others, but just see 1 or 2 shots on the live stream there of the players celebrating. They've clearly enjoyed their work. They'll have enjoyed getting in front of a crowd here again, and once the floodlights come on, it really does transform this place. It's been a wonderful, wonderful evening, and they've got off to a great start. Going ahead, most of the bases are covered, aren't they?
I'd say so. I'd say they look quite a oiled machine for the first game of the season. I think most bases covered. I had the same worries with you as with Ben Duckett not being available for most, if not all, the blast. Who is going to step up and do that role? But Monty looks like he's more than capable, so I think Notts will be incredibly happy with how their team has gone this evening and how everyone has performed. And I think Stephen Mullaney will be sitting there thinking, very, very good job that they've got 7 bowlers, all look like they can play a part in their own way and in crucial times, and batting wise the same. I think it's shaping up to be a very interesting blast for Notts.
Very much so. Very much enjoyed your company, Kyle. Really appreciate you being with us this evening. Runs and wickets tomorrow for you, and we look forward to being with you again very, very soon indeed. Notts are back here at Trent Bridge on Tuesday evening when they play Yorkshire. The games come thick and fast, as I say. Before then, Bank Holiday Monday, we're at Durham, but tomorrow I'm up to Old Trafford, 6:30 start. You'll be able to hear that on BBC Radio Nottingham on the FM frequencies. Has not looked to make it 2 out of 2, but they've won here, Colin, at Trent Bridge this evening. Early on it looked a little bit iffy as Derbyshire got out of the blocks quickly, but Notts have pulled this back very, very nicely indeed, and they've beaten their old rivals. They continue that winning streak with a 4-wicket win with 3 overs to spare.
Joe, well played. We're on. Friday night, beautiful evening, big crowd here and a win over Derbyshire. It's not a bad start, is it?
Great start. Yeah, all you can ask for really. It's always a lovely game to be involved with when you play. Friday night, beautiful evening, big crowd in the win over Derbyshire. It's a decent start.
Yeah, all you can ask for really. Yeah, it's nice to be back playing T20 cricket in front of the crowds we get here, and to start with a win against Derbyshire is always pleasing.
How were you feeling about that chase? Because once they got the chase now, those 117 still plenty to go and get out of it.
Yeah, I think credit to the bowlers who, you know, Madsen and Lewis Rees played really well to get him off to a very good start, and yeah, at one point it looked like 200 plus could have been the target, and you know, credit to the lads, we took wickets and we dragged it back really nicely, and you know, Conor McCurr on debut on loan bowled extremely well, and Shaheen Afridi showed why he's one of the #1 picks in the world at this format. To close out their innings, how he did was special to watch actually, and made it a slightly easier chase for us.
Another strong look for you, following on from a few in the Championship as well. Did that help going back into Whitehall, having had those knocks in the last 2 or 3 weeks?
No, not really, to be honest. Yeah, it's a completely different format. Format that I've played a lot of over the last few years, so it's one that I know really well now in my own game. Different experiences playing across the world, so yeah, just it's all about going out and doing it, and yeah, so yeah, pleasing.
A lot of new faces in the Outlaws lineup. Firstly, Matthew Montgomery's T20 debut tonight, and took pretty well.
Yeah, I think the biggest compliment I can give him is I sat with Alex Hales there when he was batting, and he said he thinks it's one of the most impressive debut performances he's seen in a Notts shirt. So that's to get that from someone of his calibre is amazing, and yeah, he keeps going from strength to strength, and yeah, I'm really pleased that he started well tonight.
Seems pretty nervous out there, taking things very quickly, so he started Red Bull as well, I guess.
Yeah, obviously I missed majority of the winter, but by all accounts he worked extremely hard on his Red Bull game and his White Ball game, and that's bearing fruits now, and he's come into the side in the Red Bull and scored runs straight away, and yeah, to do that in front of a busy Trent Bridge on a Friday night in your first game is yeah, amazing really, and hopefully he keeps going, and yeah, the sky's the limit for Monty.
Yeah, word on the crowd, who seemed to get more and more into the game the more 4s and 6s you hit really. What was the atmosphere like in that innings?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously in our bowling innings, the ball was going around a bit for them, so I think it sort of quieted them down a little bit, and then obviously we took a few wickets, but yeah, I mean, hopefully, you know, with our batting lineup this year, we can get the crowd going.
And how's it been blending the new faces into the team? There's been a couple arrive on loan this week, as well as Munro and Afridi. How's it all gelled in the dressing room?
Yeah, I mean, Colin got here last week. You know, I mean, I've played probably 4 or 5 different teams with Colin. A lot of the lads know him from the 100, so he's fitted in incredibly well. Shaheen has fitted in incredibly well, and obviously Connor and Jack Brooks, yeah, are fitting so well. I think it just sums up our group at the moment. we're very tight, and we love seeing new faces. And you know, the lads who played tonight, who were new faces, did extremely well.
And over to Lancashire tomorrow, which, considering the players in your side and in the Lightning side, feels like quite a mouthful-free clash.
Yeah, obviously they've got a strong side, and so do we. So you know, I think they haven't lost at Old Trafford for a long time, so it'd be nice to go there and put in a performance. So yeah, we'll have an early night tonight and get on the bus in the morning, and yeah, hopefully go and have a positive result there.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Thank you.